Gravedigger hears crying in the cemetery. What he finds will break your heart. Walter Johnson was finishing his overnight shift at Pine Grove Cemetery when a strange sound echoed among the silent tombstones. At 67, he knew every noise in that place, every whisper of wind through the ancient trees, every creak of the iron gates. But this was different. The sharp cry of a baby cut through the night stillness like a blade. Walter stopped sweeping the dry leaves, his heart racing. In 42 years working at that cemetery, he had never heard anything like it. He followed the sound with careful steps, his flashlight trembling in his wrinkled hands. Behind the Parker family mausoleum, he found a rough wooden box. Inside, wrapped in a faded blue blanket, a newborn was crying desperately. Its tiny eyes were squeezed shut, its little face red from screaming. "Oh my God," Walter murmured, his voice choked. He looked around, searching for someone, any sign of who could have left the child there. The cemetery was empty, as it always was on Tuesday mornings. Just him and now this baby crying as if begging the whole world for help. With shaky hands, Walter picked up the child. The baby was so small, so fragile. It must have been only days old. Immediately the crying softened, as if the child sensed human warmth and calmed down. "So you're cold, aren't you, little one?" Walter said, adjusting the blanket. Inside the box was a crumpled piece of paper. Struggling to read in the dim flashlight, Walter made out a few handwritten words. "Please take care of him. I can't keep my son. His name is Michael." The gravedigger felt a tightness in his chest. Michael. The child had a name. A mother who loved him enough to name him, but not enough to stay. Or maybe she loved him too much and had to let go. Walter looked down at the baby, now quiet in his arms. Michael stared back with dark, curious eyes, as if studying the old man's bearded, time-worn face. Walter felt something he hadn't in many years, the sense of being needed. 23 years ago, Walter had lost his wife Deborah and their young son David in an accident. Since then, he had lived alone in his small house behind the cemetery, dedicating his whole life to work. He was a quiet man, speaking little and smiling even less. But holding this baby, something inside him stirred. "What am I going to do with you, Michael?" he whispered. His first thought was to take the child to the hospital, to call the authorities. That was the right thing to do. But as he started walking toward the cemetery gate, Michael began crying again. "Shh, shh," Walter said, gently rocking the baby. He stopped and looked down at the little boy. Michael had quieted and was watching him intently, as if saying, "Don't leave me too." Walter took a deep breath. He knew he had to make a quick decision. The baby needed care, milk, a warm place. His house was simple, but it had the basics, at least for a few hours until he figured out what to do. He hurried to his home, a small two-room cottage at the back of the cemetery grounds. He turned on the lights and carefully placed Michael on the couch, surrounding him with pillows so he wouldn't fall. "So you must be hungry," Walter said, glancing around. He didn't have baby formula, but he remembered his neighbor, Mrs. Robinson, had just become a grandmother. Maybe she had some baby supplies, but it was 4 in the morning. He couldn't wake anyone at this hour. He took some regular milk from the fridge, warmed it slightly, and diluted it with water. It wasn't ideal, but it was all he had for now. With a small spoon, he managed to give a few drops to Michael, who accepted the milk and stopped crying. "That's better, isn't it?" said Walter, feeling more confident. He spent the rest of the night watching Michael sleep. The baby breathed softly, his tiny fists clenched beside his peaceful little face. Walter couldn't stop looking. It was as if he were hypnotized by that tiny presence in his empty home. When the sun began to rise, Walter realized he had a serious problem. He needed to work, but he couldn't leave Michael alone. Sooner or later, someone would ask about the baby. He decided to talk to Mrs. Robinson. She was a kind 70-year-old woman who lived on the street next to Pine Grove Cemetery. She had raised 6 children and now helped care for her grandchildren. If anyone could give advice, it was her. He knocked on his neighbor's door at 7 in the morning, carrying Michael in his arms. "Walter, what is this?" asked Mrs. Robinson, still in her robe and slippers. "Robinson, I need your help," said Walter, stepping inside. He told the whole story to his neighbor, who listened in silence, her eyes wide with surprise. "Oh my God, Walter, a child abandoned in the cemetery," exclaimed Mrs. Robinson. "You need to call Child Protective Services right now." I know, said Walter. "But look at him, Robinson. He's so calm, so quiet." Mrs. Robinson took Michael in her arms and examined him tenderly. "He's a healthy baby, Walter. Probably about 5 days old, but you can't just keep him like this with no paperwork. It's illegal." "Just for a few days while I figure out what to do," Walter pleaded. "Walter, dear, I understand your heart. I know you lost your boy and live alone, but a baby isn't a toy. He needs special care, documents, vaccines." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, back to the story. Walter knew Mrs. Robinson was right, but he couldn't bring himself to hand Michael over to the authorities. What if he ended up in a bad orphanage? What if he never found a real family? "Just help me today, Robinson," Walter begged. "I need to work, but I can't leave him alone." Mrs. Robinson sighed, looking at Michael sleeping peacefully in her arms. "All right, but just for today. Tomorrow you'll sort this out properly." Walter spent the whole day at the cemetery thinking about Michael. He swept the paths, tended to the flowers, did his usual tasks, but his mind was at Mrs. Robinson's house. Several times he caught himself staring at the spot where he'd found the box, searching for any clue about Michael's mother. In the late afternoon when he went to pick up the baby, he found Mrs. Robinson beaming. "Walter, what a clever baby. He nursed just fine, slept well, no trouble at all," she said, handing Michael over. "Thank you, Robinson. You saved my life today." "Walter, have you thought about what you'll do?" "I still don't know," Walter admitted, taking Michael into his arms. "Listen, I have an idea. My granddaughter Jennifer works at the courthouse in the adoption department. What if I talk to her? Maybe she can guide you properly." Walter hesitated. He knew it was the right thing to do, but part of him just wanted to keep Michael, to care for him as if he were his own grandson. But Mrs. Robinson was right. He couldn't raise a child without documents, without any record, without anything. "All right," he finally said. "Talk to her." That night, Walter bathed Michael with all the gentleness in the world. The baby seemed to enjoy the warm water, kicking his little legs and looking at Walter with curiosity. During his bottle feeding, Michael held the gravedigger's finger with his tiny hands. "You're getting used to me, aren't you, Michael?" Walter murmured. It was strange how in just one day that child had completely changed his routine. His house, which had once been silent as a tomb, was now full of life. Michael's cries, his little noises, his presence, all of it made Walter feel alive in a way he hadn't in decades, but deep down he knew it couldn't last forever. The next day, Jennifer, Mrs. Robinson's granddaughter, showed up at Walter's house. She was a serious woman in her early 30s who had worked at the city courthouse for 5 years. "Mr. Johnson, Grandma told me everything," Jennifer said, sitting at the kitchen table. "You did the right thing by taking care of the baby, but now we need to sort things out legally." "What does that mean?" Walter asked, rocking Michael, who was awake in his arms. "It means you have to report the found child to the police and Child Protective Services. They'll take steps to find a family for Michael." "What if I want to keep him?" Jennifer looked surprised. "You want to adopt the baby?" "Maybe. I don't know. It's just..." Walter trailed off, unsure how to explain what he was feeling. "Mr. Johnson, you're 67, single, and work as a gravedigger. That's not the kind of profile the adoption system usually approves easily." "Why not?" Walter asked, feeling offended. "Because there's a waiting list of young couples hoping to adopt. The system prioritizes traditional families, stable couples with adequate financial resources. I have resources. I've worked for 42 years, I own my home, I have my pension." "I know, Mr. Johnson, but that's how the system works. Still, if you want to try, you can get on the adoption waiting list. But the process is long, it could take years." "And Michael, what happens to him in the meantime?" "He'll go to a temporary foster home until they find a permanent family for him." Walter's heart clenched. The thought of handing Michael over to strangers of not knowing if he was safe or being cared for with love, was unbearable. Can't I keep him for just a few more days? Mr. Johnson, technically, what you're doing is already against the rules. I'm here as a family friend, but legally, I should have reported this yesterday. Walter looked down at Michael, who stared back at him with those dark, intelligent little eyes. How could he hand this child over to the system? How could he just give up? Give me 2 more days, Walter pleaded. Just 2 days to think it through. Jennifer sighed. Mr. Johnson, I can't officially agree to that, but I can't stop you from taking 2 days to make such an important decision. After Jennifer left, Walter was alone with Michael. The baby was more active now, moving his arms and legs, making new sounds. It was as if he was growing by the hour. What do I do, Michael? Walter asked. I want to keep you, but maybe that's not what's best for you. As if sensing the gravedigger's anguish, Michael began to cry. Walter picked him up and walked around the house, humming a song his wife used to sing to David when he was a baby. Rockabye, baby, don't you fear. Nothing will harm you. When I'm near... Michael calmed instantly, as if recognizing it was a song of love and protection. That afternoon, Walter decided to take Michael to see the cemetery in the daylight. He wanted to show him where he had been found, the old trees, the flowers he tended with such care. This is where I work, Michael, Walter said, walking down the paths with the baby in his arms. It's a peaceful place, you know. The people here have already rested from all of life's troubles. He stopped at the spot where he had found the box. There was no trace left, but Walter remembered every detail of that early morning. "Oh, this is where you came into my life," he said softly, "like a gift someone left especially for me." Michael looked around curiously, as if trying to understand where he was. The sunlight filtering through the tree leaves cast dancing shadows on his little face. "You know, Michael, I once had a son. His name was David. He was about your age when he passed, his mother too, both of them in an accident." Walter's voice cracked. It was the first time in years he had spoken about Deborah and David, to anyone, even if that someone was just a baby a few days old. After that, I thought I'd never care for a child again. I thought my heart had dried up, that there was no love left in me for anyone else. But then you appeared. Michael yawned and closed his little eyes, as if feeling safe and protected in Walter's arms. Maybe your mother knew I was here. Maybe she chose this place because she knew someone would find you and care for you with love. Walter spent the rest of the afternoon walking with Michael through Pine Grove Cemetery, showing him the flower beds, the old chapel, the small pond where a few ducks lived. It was strange how the baby's presence made the place feel less gloomy, less silent. By nightfall, Walter had made up his mind. He would try to keep Michael no matter what it took. He'd get in line for adoption, prove he could be a good father to that child. But the next day, his resolve was tested in a way he hadn't expected. It was a sunny Thursday when Walter saw a car stop at the cemetery entrance. A young woman, about 25, thin and worn-looking, stepped out. She glanced around nervously and began walking among the headstones. Walter was feeding Michael a bottle when he saw her approach. She paused every now and then, as if searching for something specific. "Excuse me," the woman said as she neared Walter. "Do you work here?" "I do," Walter replied, trying to shield Michael, who lay quietly in his arms. "It's just I'm looking for..." She hesitated, her eyes brimming. "I left something here a few days ago near the Parker family mausoleum." Walter's heart raced. He knew exactly what she meant. "What kind of thing?" he asked, pretending not to understand. The woman began to cry. "My baby. I left my baby here early Tuesday morning. I know it was wrong. I know it was terrible, but I had no choice." Walter froze. This was Michael's mother, the woman who had written that note, who had given the baby a name and then abandoned him. "Why did you do it?" Walter asked, his voice harsher than he intended. "Because I can't take care of him," the woman shouted, distraught. "I'm 19. I don't have a job, no money, no family to help me. His father left when he found out. I was pregnant. And now why did you come back? Because I can't stop thinking about him. I can't sleep, I can't eat. I need to know if he's okay, if someone found him, if..." She stopped speaking when she saw Michael in Walter's arms. "That's him," she whispered, eyes wide. "That's my Michael." Walter instinctively held the baby tighter. "How can you be sure?" "The blue blanket," I wrapped him in that blanket myself, and that little face. She reached out a hand. Can I touch him? Walter hesitated, but allowed her to gently brush Michael's cheek. My son, the woman murmured, tears streaming down her face. My little boy. What's your name? Walter asked. Jessica Murphy. And do you want him back? Jessica looked at Walter desperately. I do. But I can't. Nothing has changed in my life since Tuesday. I still can't take care of him. Then why did you come here? Because I needed to see if he was okay. I thought maybe he had. Jessica couldn't finish the sentence. He's fine, said Walter. He's eating well, sleeping well. He's hardly cried at all. Thank you, said Jessica, relieved. Thank you for taking care of him. Jessica, you need to know I'll have to turn him over to the authorities. I can't keep him without any paperwork. I know. I just wanted to say goodbye to him properly. Walter looked at the girl who seemed younger than her 19 years. She was visibly shaken, too thin with deep dark circles under her eyes. It was obvious she was suffering just as much as he was. Do you want to hold him? Walter offered. Jessica took Michael with extreme care, as if he were made of glass. The baby opened his little eyes and stared at her curiously. Hi, my love, Jessica whispered. Mommy came to see you. Michael made a soft little noise, as if recognizing his mother's voice. Jessica began to cry harder. I'm so sorry, Michael. I'm so sorry I can't keep you. But I love you so much. Walter felt his heart tighten at the scene. It was clear Jessica loved her son, but it was also clear she couldn't raise him. Jessica, tell me your story, Walter said, sitting on a nearby bench. Still holding Michael, Jessica explained she had gotten pregnant at 18. Her boyfriend, 2 years older, left her when he found out. She lived with her grandmother, who had a very small pension. She hadn't finished school and couldn't find work. During the pregnancy, I thought about giving him up for adoption, but when he was born, I couldn't do it. I took him home, tried to care for him, but after 5 days, I knew it wouldn't work. I didn't even have money for diapers. And your grandmother? My grandmother is sick, sir. She has Alzheimer's. She doesn't always recognize me. I take care of her with her pension money, but it's barely enough for the two of us, with a baby. Walter understood the girl's desperation. She really had no choice. Jessica, have you reached out to Child Protective Services? They can help. I'm scared. I'm scared they'll take Michael away and I'll never see him again. At least leaving him here, I knew where he was. But you can't raise a child like this, without support, without stability. I know, Jessica admitted. That's why I brought him here. I thought someone would find him and take better care of him than I could. Walter watched Jessica holding Michael. It was a heartbreaking and tragic scene. A teenage mother who loved her son but couldn't raise him, and an old man who could raise him but wasn't his father. Jessica, what if I adopted Michael? What if I could keep him legally? Jessica looked at Walter in surprise. You'd do that? I'd care for him as if he were my own grandson. He'd have a home, food, love, education, everything he needs. But what about me? Could I see him sometimes? Walter thought about the question. Legally, if he adopted Michael, Jessica would lose all rights to the child, but morally he saw no problem in letting her visit. We can talk about that, Walter said. Are you married? Do you have children? I'm a widower. I had a son, but he's been gone a long time. Jessica looked at Michael, sleeping peacefully in her arms. He likes you. I can tell he's calm, well cared for. He's a very good baby. Hardly any trouble at all. Michael's always been like that since he was born. It's like he knows he shouldn't be a bother. Jessica spent another hour holding her son, talking with Walter about the situation. In the end, she made a decision. I'll contact Child Protective Services, Jessica said. I'll tell them the whole truth and say I want Michael to stay with you. Are you sure? I am. You're a good person, I can see that. And Michael likes you. But Jessica, the adoption process can take a long time, and there's no guarantee they'll approve it. Then we try. At least now I know he's in good hands. That afternoon, Jessica and Walter went together to Child Protective Services. There they told the whole story to the social worker in charge, a woman named Amanda. "You did the right thing coming here," Amanda said. "But the situation is complicated. Jessica, are you officially giving up custody of your son?" "I am," Jessica replied, her voice firm despite the tears. "I can't raise him." "And you, Mr. Johnson, do you want to file for adoption?" "I do," Walter answered, holding Michael in his arms. "I need to explain that the process is long. They'll do a psychological evaluation, a social assessment, review your finances, your home, your background. How long will it take? It could take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, depending on the case. And Michael, where will he stay during that time?" "Normally, the child stays in a foster home until the process is completed." Walter felt his world collapse. The thought of being separated from Michael for months or years was unbearable. "Is there any way he can stay with me during the process?" "Unfortunately, no, the law doesn't allow it." Jessica, who had been silent, spoke up. "What if I don't officially give up custody yet? What if I leave him with Mr. Johnson for a few more days while you start the paperwork?" Amanda shook her head. "That would be irregular. I can't officially allow it." "But it's not a crime for a mother to leave her child with someone she trusts for a few days, is it?" "Technically, no, but..." "Then it's settled," Jessica said. "I'll leave Michael with Mr. Johnson for another week. Then we'll come back to sort everything out." Amanda sighed, clearly uncomfortable. "I'll pretend I didn't hear this conversation, but don't take too long to come back, or I'll have to take action." Leaving Child Protective Services, Jessica kissed Michael on the forehead and said goodbye. "Take good care of my boy," she told Walter. "Don't worry," Walter replied. But that extra week didn't bring the peace Walter had hoped for. Instead, it brought more complications. The next day, Friday, Walter received a visit from Jennifer, Mrs. Robinson's granddaughter. "Mr. Johnson, I heard you went to Child Protective Services yesterday," Jennifer said seriously. "I did, with Michael's mother. And you didn't hand over the child?" "No. Jessica doesn't want to officially give up custody yet." "Mr. Johnson, this is very dangerous. If someone reports that you have a child without legal authorization, who's going to report it?" "Only you, Mrs. Robinson, and Amanda know." "People talk, Mr. Johnson. Neighbors gossip, and there's something else." "What?" "My boss at the courthouse found out about the situation. He's saying if you don't turn the child over immediately, he'll have to notify the district attorney's office." Walter felt a chill in his stomach. "What does that mean?" "It means they could take Michael from you by force and even charge you with unlawful custody of a minor." "But I didn't steal him. I found him abandoned." "I know, Mr. Johnson. But legally, you were supposed to turn him over to the authorities right away." Walter looked at Michael sleeping peacefully in his makeshift crib. He couldn't accept that in just a few days, this child would be taken from him. "Jennifer, help me. Can't you speed up the adoption process?" "Mr. Johnson, even if I could speed it up, you have to understand your chances are slim. You're 67, single, you work at a cemetery. So what, does that make me a bad person?" "Of course not, but the system prioritizes traditional families, young couples, financially stable." "I am financially stable." "I know, Mr. Johnson, but that's the reality. I'm sorry to be blunt, but you need to prepare yourself for the possibility of not being able to adopt Michael." That night, Walter couldn't sleep. He lay there watching Michael, who slept peacefully, unaware of all the trouble his presence was causing. "What do I do, Michael?" Walter murmured. "How do I hand you over knowing it might be the last time I see you?" Michael stirred in his sleep, letting out a soft sound. Walter reached out his finger, and the baby, still asleep, gripped it tightly. "You trust me, don't you? You know I won't abandon you." But the next morning, things got even more complicated. Walter was giving Michael a bath when he heard loud voices outside his house. He wrapped the baby in a towel and went to the window. Outside, he saw 3 people arguing heatedly: Mrs. Robinson, a man he didn't recognize, and a younger woman. Walter quickly dressed Michael and stepped outside to see what was happening. "Walter!" Mrs. Robinson exclaimed when she saw him. "These are caseworkers from Child Protective Services. They've come to take Michael." The man, who looked about 40, introduced himself. "Mr. Johnson, I'm Richard, a caseworker. This is Sarah, the psychologist. We've received a report that you're keeping a child without legal authorization. Who reported me? Walter asked, clutching Michael to his chest. That doesn't matter, Sarah said. What matters is we need to take the child to a proper facility. He is proper here. He's being cared for, well-fed, healthy. Mr. Johnson, you don't have legal custody of this child, Richard said. Technically, you're committing a crime. What crime? Taking care of an abandoned child? Unlawful. Custody of a minor, Richard replied. Walter couldn't believe what he was hearing. How could caring for an abandoned baby be a crime? And where are you taking him? To a temporary foster home until we find a suitable family for adoption, Sarah answered. But I want to adopt him. You can join the adoption waiting list like anyone else. But that doesn't give you the right to keep the child during the process. Mrs. Robinson tried to intervene. For heaven's sake, you can see the child is well cared for. Walter is a good man. We're not questioning Mr. Johnson's character, Richard said, but there are legal procedures that must be followed. Give me a few more days, Walter pleaded, just until I can speak to the child's mother. Mr. Johnson, you need to hand over the child now, Sarah said, holding out her arms. No. The word left Walter's mouth before he could think. Richard and Sarah exchanged glances. Mr. Johnson, don't make this harder than it has to be, Richard said. You'll have to arrest me to take this child from me. If necessary, we'll call the police, Sarah threatened. Mrs. Robinson panicked. Walter, don't do this. You'll only make things worse. But Walter was determined. He wouldn't hand Michael over to strangers, wouldn't let them take the child to a place where he didn't know how he'd be treated. Call the police then, Walter said. But I'm not giving up Michael. Richard sighed and pulled out his phone. I'll have to call for backup. That's when Jessica arrived. She had seen the commotion on the street and came to see what was happening. What's going on here? Jessica asked. Are you the child's mother? Sarah asked. I am, Jessica Murphy. We need to take your son to a foster home. Mr. Johnson has him unlawfully. Jessica looked at Walter, who held Michael with a desperate expression. But I left my son with Mr. Johnson, Jessica said. It was my choice. You can't just leave a child with anyone, said Richard. There are legal procedures. But Mr. Johnson isn't just anyone. He took very good care of my son. Mrs. Murphy, you need to understand that if you can't raise the child, you must give them up for adoption through the proper channels. Jessica fell silent for a few seconds, looking at Michael in Walter's arms. What if I don't want to give him up yet? What if I want to try raising my son? Richard and Sarah exchanged glances again. Have you changed your mind about adoption? Asked Sarah. Maybe I acted too hastily. Walter looked at Jessica in surprise. Just the day before, she had said she couldn't raise Michael. Jessica, are you sure about this? Walter asked quietly. I am, Jessica replied firmly. He's my son. If I want to try raising him, that's my right. Richard shook his head. Mrs. Murphy, just yesterday you were at Child Protective Services saying you wanted to put the child up for adoption. And today I changed my mind. Is that a crime? It's not a crime, but then it's settled. I'm taking my son home. Jessica stepped toward Walter and held out her arms for Michael. Jessica, what are you doing? Walter whispered. Trust me, she whispered back. Reluctantly, Walter handed Michael over. The baby began to cry as he left the gravedigger's arms. There, Jessica said to Richard and Sarah. My son is with me. There's no legal issue anymore. Richard and Sarah seemed confused by the sudden turn of events. Mrs. Murphy, if you can't provide for the child, you're committing neglect, said Sarah. Who says I can't provide for him? Jessica shot back. You said so yourself yesterday. Yesterday I was desperate. Today I thought better. I'll find a way to care for my son. And where do you plan to live? How will you support the child? Richard asked. Jessica hesitated for a few seconds. I'll stay here with Mr. Johnson. He'll help me take care of Michael. Walter's eyes widened. He hadn't expected this. Jessica. You'll agree, won't you, Mr. Johnson? Jessica asked, looking straight into his eyes. You said you wanted to care for Michael. Now you can with his mother's permission. Walter understood what Jessica was doing. It was a strategy to keep them from taking Michael away. But would it work? I agree, Walter said. Jessica and Michael can stay here. Richard and Sarah exchanged another glance. This is highly irregular, Richard muttered. Why is it irregular? Jessica asked. A mother can choose who she wants to live with, can't she? And she can ask for help raising her child, right? She can, but... Then there's no problem, Jessica concluded. The social workers whispered among themselves for a few minutes. Finally, Richard turned to Jessica. Mrs. Murphy will conduct a home visit next week. We'll check the living conditions, the child situation, and better understand this arrangement between you. No problem, Jessica replied. And if we find any irregularities, we'll take appropriate action. Come whenever you want. After Richard and Sarah left, Walter, Jessica, and Mrs. Robinson stood alone in front of the house. Jessica, what have you done? Mrs. Robinson asked. I saved my son from being taken to some unknown place, Jessica answered. But you said you couldn't raise him. And I can't. But I won't let them take him away from Mr. Johnson either. Walter looked at Jessica with admiration. You did. This for me. I did it for you and for Michael. I saw how you care for him, how calm he is with you, and I saw how much it hurt you when they tried to take him away. But Jessica, now you'll have to live here. Have you thought about that? I have, and I think it could work. You have experience with babies. I'm his mother. Together we can take good care of him. What about your grandmother? My grandmother has a caregiver during the day. At night I can go stay with her if needed. Mrs. Robinson shook her head. You're both crazy. This will never work. Why not? Asked Jessica. Because you barely know each other. Because there's a big age difference. Because we both love Michael, interrupted Walter, and that's what matters. That afternoon, Jessica brought her few clothes and settled into the guest room in Walter's house. It was a small but comfortable room. Michael seemed calmer with his mother nearby, but he still settled quickly when held by Walter. He really likes you, Jessica observed, watching Michael grasp the gravedigger's finger. And I really like him, Walter admitted. Mr. Johnson, can I ask you a personal question? Go ahead. You mentioned you had a son. What happened to him? Walter was silent for a few seconds, looking at Michael. David was 6 months old when the accident happened. My wife Deborah was taking him to the doctor, just a routine checkup. A truck ran a red light and... Walter's voice faltered. I'm so sorry, Jessica said softly. It was 23 years ago. I thought I'd moved on, but when I held Michael, it all came back. The feeling of having a baby to care for. The responsibility. The fear that something might happen. Are you afraid of getting attached to Michael? I am. I'm afraid of loving him and then losing him too. Jessica took Walter's hand. You won't lose Michael. I won't let that happen. But Jessica, you're his mother. One day you'll want your life back. You'll want to date, marry, have your own family. Maybe, but that doesn't mean I'll forget about Michael or you. Walter looked at this 19-year-old girl who had appeared in his life just days ago and changed everything. Jessica, you're so young. You have your whole life ahead of you. You don't have to sacrifice yourself for me. Who says it's a sacrifice? Maybe this is exactly what I need. A place to live, someone to help me with Michael, a family. A family. Yeah, you, me, and Michael. A different kind of family, but a family. That night, for the first time since finding Michael, Walter slept peacefully. He knew the baby would still be there in the morning, that Jessica was in the next room, that he wasn't alone anymore. But the peace didn't last long. On Monday, Walter got a phone call that changed everything. Hello, Mr. Johnson. This is Amanda from Child Protective Services. Hi, Amanda. Mr. Johnson, I need to speak with you urgently. Can you come in today? Did something happen? I'd rather discuss it in person. Can you bring Jessica and Michael too? Walter felt a knot in his stomach. He knew when someone from CPS asked to talk in person, it usually wasn't good news. Can we come this afternoon? Yes, at 2 o'clock. When Walter told Jessica about the call, she grew worried. What do you think they want? I don't know, but it can't be good. At exactly 2 o'clock, Walter, Jessica, and Michael were in Amanda's office at CPS. Thank you for coming, Amanda said. I called you because we received information. That could complicate the situation. What information? Jessica asked. Michael's father has come forward. Jessica turned pale. What do you mean, come forward? Ryan Cooper was here this morning. He said he heard through friends that you had the baby and wants to establish paternity. But he abandoned me, Jessica shouted. When he found out I was pregnant, he said it wasn't his problem. I know, Jessica, but legally, he has rights to the child. Walter felt his world crumbling again. And what does this mean? It means if Ryan wants custody of Michael, he has priority over anyone else, Amanda explained. Even though he abandoned Jessica when she was pregnant, Walter asked, outraged. Unfortunately, yes, a biological father has rights, even if he didn't take responsibility during the pregnancy. Jessica began to cry. He can't take Michael. He doesn't even know how to take care of a baby. Jessica, you'll have to talk to him. The two of you will need to come to an agreement about custody. And if we can't agree, then the court will decide. Walter picked Michael up, as if wanting to protect him from all the chaos. Amanda, what if Ryan doesn't want the responsibility? What if he just showed up to cause trouble? It's possible. Some fathers only appear to gain leverage, but we'll only know his intentions by talking to him. When is he coming back? Tomorrow at 10, you both need to be here. Leaving Child Protective Services, Jessica was visibly shaken. Walter, I don't want Ryan to take Michael, she said, crying. Neither do I, but maybe he just showed up to stir up trouble. Maybe when he realizes how much responsibility it is to care for a baby, he'll back off. And if he doesn't, then we'll figure something else out. That night, Jessica barely slept. She lay awake imagining terrible scenarios. Ryan taking Michael away, never seeing her son again, Walter being left alone once more. The next day at 10, they were all in Amanda's office. Walter, Jessica, Michael, and Ryan. Ryan was a 21-year-old guy, tall and thin, with an air of someone who thought the world owed him something. He wore expensive clothes and spoke arrogantly. So this is my son, Ryan said, looking at Michael in Jessica's arms. Yes, Jessica replied curtly. Why didn't you tell me he was born? Because you said you wanted nothing to do with it. I was upset back then. Now I've changed my mind. Amanda tried to mediate. Ryan, explain to me what your intentions are regarding Michael. I want to establish paternity and request custody. Jessica clutched Michael tighter. Why? You don't even know how to take care of a baby. I can learn and I can give him everything you can, a nice home, private school, health insurance. Michael doesn't need private school. He needs love. And who says I won't love him? Walter, who had stayed quiet until then, spoke up. Ryan, answer me one thing. Where were you when Jessica needed help? Where were you when she was struggling during the pregnancy? Ryan looked at Walter with disdain. And who are you again, the fake grandpa? I'm the one who took care of your son when you didn't even know he existed. Yeah, my bad, but I'm here now. Amanda tried to calm things down. Everyone, let's talk calmly. Ryan, you said you want custody. Does that mean you plan to raise Michael alone? I do. I have the financial means, my own home, a stable job. And experience? With kids, Jessica asked. Experience comes with time. Money's harder to get. Walter bristled at the answer. Money doesn't raise a child, Ryan. Kids need affection, attention, patience. And you think I don't have that? You had 8 months to prove you did, Jessica shot back. And you disappeared. I already told you I was confused, Amanda intervened again. Ryan, do you understand that caring for a baby is a huge responsibility? Bottles every 3 hours, dirty diapers, sleepless nights. I can hire a nanny, Jessica exploded. You want to hire a stranger to take care of your own child? It's better than leaving him with a gravedigger and a broke teenager. Walter. Johnson stood up, furious. Show some respect, young man. Calm down, Mr. Johnson, said Amanda. Ryan, you can't talk like that. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. What kind of life do you think you can give this child? The old man will be gone soon, and Jessica doesn't even have a place to call her own. Jessica started crying. At least, we love Michael. And who says I won't love him? Because people who love don't abandon, Jessica shouted. The argument was getting too heated. Amanda decided to end the meeting. All right, everyone, here's what we'll do. I'll give you 1 more week to talk and come to an agreement. If you can't, I'll have to send this case to Child Protective Services." "And where does Michael stay in the meantime?" asked Ryan. "With his mother," Amanda replied, looking at Jessica. "You mean with the old man?" "Ryan, Mr. Johnson is just helping Jessica take care of the child. There's nothing wrong with that." "Oh, really? A man in his 60s living with a 19-year-old girl? Don't you find that strange?" Walter turned red with anger. "How dare you suggest something like that? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying the situation is odd." Jessica stood up, outraged. "Ryan, you're disgusting. Mr. Johnson is a decent person who helped me when I needed it most." Sure, and you're so innocent." Amanda slammed the table. "Enough. Ryan, that kind of comment is unacceptable. If you keep this up, I'll have to ask you to leave." Ryan calmed down but kept his arrogant tone. "Fine, but I want it clear I'll fight for custody of my son." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out as we're just starting. Now back to the story. Leaving Child Protective Services, Jessica was desperate. "Walter, I can't let Ryan take Michael." "Neither can I, Jessica, but the law is on his side." "So what do we do?" Walter thought for a few seconds. "We need to show that together, you and I can give Michael a better life than Ryan can alone." "How?" "I don't know yet, but we need to come up with something." That week, Walter and Jessica devoted themselves entirely to caring for Michael and thinking of ways to convince the authorities that staying with them was best for the child. Jessica started looking for a job. She knew she had to prove she could support her son. Walter helped by watching Michael while she went to interviews. On Thursday, Jessica came home beaming. "Walter, I got a job, and that's great. Where?" "At Mr. George's bakery nearby. I'll work mornings part-time, then I'll be with Michael in the afternoon." "And the pay?" "Not much, but with your pension we'll manage." Walter was happy to see Jessica trying so hard. It proved she truly wanted to take responsibility for raising her son. But on Friday, they got an unexpected visit. Ryan showed up at Walter's house with an older, well-dressed woman who introduced herself as Barbara, his mother. "I've come for my grandson," Barbara said bluntly. "Your grandson is just fine where he is," Walter replied. "Fine? With a poor girl and an old man who works at a cemetery?" Barbara said disdainfully. Jessica, who was feeding Michael a bottle, stood up. "You don't know our situation to talk like that. I know all I need to. You live in this tiny old house, you have no education, and he's just a gravedigger." Walter felt insulted. "Ma'am, honest work is nothing to be ashamed of." "Of course not. But raising a child takes more than honesty. It takes resources, education, a future." Ryan, who had stayed quiet, spoke up. "My mother's right. I can give Michael so much more than you ever could." "Like what?" asked Jessica defiantly. "A big house, private school, health insurance, vacations, everything a child deserves." "And love, can you offer love? I'll learn to love him." "Love isn't something you learn, Ryan," shouted Jessica. "Either you feel it or you don't." Barbara intervened. "My dear, love without stability is useless. What good is love if the child is going to go without?" "We won't go without," Jessica shot back. "I got a job. Mr. Walter has his pension." "A gravedigger's pension and a bakery salary," Barbara laughed. "You think that's enough?" Walter was growing furious at the woman's arrogant tone. "Ma'am, money isn't everything in life. It's not everything, but it's close, and you don't even have that." Ryan picked up Michael in his arms, ignoring Jessica's protests. "Look, Michael, this is Daddy, and this is Grandma Barbara." Michael started crying in Ryan's arms, who clearly had no idea how to hold him properly. "He's crying," said Ryan, nervous. "It's because he doesn't know you," said Jessica, taking the baby back. Michael immediately calmed, in his mother's arms. "That doesn't prove anything," said Barbara. "Babies get used to anyone." "That's not true," Walter countered. "Michael cries with strangers and stays calm with those who care for him tenderly." "Nonsense. Children don't understand a thing." The argument went on for over an hour with no resolution in sight. Ryan and Barbara left making threats, vowing to get custody of Michael no matter what. "Will they succeed?" Jessica asked. Walter after they'd gone. "I don't know, Jessica. They have money, lawyers, influence, and we have love. I hope that's enough." On Saturday, Walter decided to take Jessica and Michael to see the cemetery properly during the day. He wanted to show her his work, the place where he'd found Michael. "This is where it all began," said Walter, stopping at the spot where he'd found the box. Jessica looked around, imagining what that early morning must have been like when Walter found her son. "Weren't you scared to find a baby in the cemetery?" "It wasn't fear I felt, it was surprise, shock, and then an overwhelming tenderness." "Why do you think I chose this place to leave Michael?" Walter thought about the question. "Maybe because a cemetery is where people go to think, to reflect on life. Maybe you felt he'd be found here by someone who understands the value of life. Or maybe I chose it because I knew you worked here." "What do you mean?" "I'd seen you before, Walter. When my grandmother was in the hospital, I'd pass by here sometimes after visiting her. I'd see you tending the flowers, sweeping the paths, always so careful with everything." Walter was stunned. "You knew me?" "Not personally, but I could see you were a careful person, and I thought, if I leave my baby in a place where this man works, he'll take good care of him." "Jessica, are you serious?" "I am." It wasn't a coincidence, Walter. It was deliberate. Walter felt a surge of emotion. Jessica had chosen him, specifically him, to care for Michael. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" "Because I was afraid you'd think I was using you." "Were you?" "No. Well, maybe. At first I was. But now I like living with you. I like our strange little family." Walter looked at Michael, sleeping peacefully in the stroller, and at Jessica, watching him fondly. "I like it too," Walter admitted. "Even if it's just temporary?" "Who said it's temporary?" "Ryan, he's going to get custody of Michael, and I'll have to leave." "Jessica, I won't let that happen." "How are you going to stop it? He has money, lawyers, the law on his side." "Sarge, there's the law, but there's no love. And in the end, that's what matters." On Sunday, the last day before the deadline Amanda had given, Walter made a decision that surprised everyone. "Jessica, I want to marry you." Jessica nearly dropped. The baby bottle she was preparing. "What?" "Get married, officially, at the courthouse." "Walter, have you lost your mind?" "No, I've thought it through. If we're married, we'll be an official family. That'll give more weight to our custody request. But Walter, marriage isn't a joke. I know it's not, but it doesn't have to be about romantic love. It can be for Michael's sake, for companionship, for solidarity." Jessica fell silent, processing the proposal. "What if it doesn't work out? What if you don't like each other?" "Jessica, we've already lived together for almost 2 weeks. We know we get along. But living as friends is one thing. Marriage is another. Nothing between us has to change. It'd just be official on paper." Jessica looked at Michael, playing with a rattle in his crib. "Would you do this for Michael?" "I'd do it for you and Michael." "And what will people say? A 67-year-old man marrying a 19-year-old girl?" "Let them talk. We won't be hurting anyone." Jessica thought for a long time. "All right," she finally said. "Let's get married." On Monday, when they went to Child Protective Services for the final meeting, Walter and Jessica arrived with news. "Amanda, we've decided to get married," Jessica announced. Amanda was stunned. "What do you mean?" "We're getting married officially, forming a legal family to take care of Michael." Ryan, who was already in the room with his mother and a lawyer, exploded. "This is ridiculous, a sham." "Why a sham?" asked Walter. "An old man in his 60s marrying a 19-year-old girl. It's obviously just to get custody of the child." "So what?" Jessica replied. "At least we're willing to form a family to care for Michael. You'd raise him alone." Ryan's lawyer spoke up. "Dr. Amanda, this marriage is clearly a legal maneuver. It can't be considered valid for custody purposes." Amanda was visibly confused by the situation. "Everyone, this is getting too complicated. I'll have to refer the case to the judge." "How long will that take?" asked Jessica. "It could take months. And where will Michael stay during that time?" "With you, since technically Jessica is the mother and has custody." Ryan was outraged. That's unfair. I'm the father. Ryan, you still haven't taken the DNA test to prove paternity, Amanda reminded him. Then I'll do it right now. The results take 15 days, Barbara intervened. Doctor, my son is being wronged in all this. They're making up this marriage just to hurt us. Mrs. Barbara, marriage is a right for any adult. But it's not a real marriage. How do you know? Jessica asked. Because it's obvious. You barely know each other. We've known each other for 3 weeks, and we get along very well. The lawyer tried another argument. Doctor, Amanda, I'd like to request the child be removed from this environment until the situation is resolved. An older man living with a minor. Jessica is an adult, Walter interrupted, but the age difference is absurd. This can't be normal. Amanda took a deep breath. Everyone, here's what I'll do. I'll keep Michael with Jessica for 15 more days until the DNA results come in. After that, we'll see what the judge decides. What about the marriage? Jessica asked. You're free to marry whenever you want. It doesn't interfere with the process. What process, yo? Asked Walter. The custody dispute process. Ryan will file an official custody request, and you'll have to defend yourselves. Do we need a lawyer? Jessica asked. It's advisable. And if we don't have money for a lawyer, you can request a public defender. Leaving Child Protective Services, Jessica was scared. Walter, this is going to cause a lot of trouble. It will, but we'll manage. How can you be so sure? Because we have something they don't. What? The truth. Michael is happy with us. Anyone who looks can see that. I hope the judge sees it too. That week, Walter and Jessica got married at the courthouse. It was a simple ceremony, with only Mrs. Robinson as a witness and Michael in Jessica's arms. Are you sure about what you're doing? Asked the justice of the peace before officiating the marriage. We are, they both answered, in unison. Do you know marriage is a serious matter? We do, said Walter, and we're doing this consciously. Very well. By the power vested in me by law, I now pronounce you husband and wife. It was the strangest wedding Mrs. Robinson had ever witnessed, but also the most touching. She could see that, even if it wasn't a marriage born of romantic love, there was a lot of affection and understanding between Walter and Jessica. Now you're an official family, said Mrs. Robinson after the ceremony. We were already family before, Jessica replied. Now it's just on paper. But the marriage brought unexpected complications. The next day, Walter was visited by Richard, the social worker who had tried to take Michael weeks earlier. Mr. Johnson, I heard you got married. I did. To the child's mother. To my wife, Jessica. Mr. Johnson, I need to assess the new family situation. What kind of assessment? I want to understand the household dynamics, see the living conditions, speak with each of you separately. Why? To prepare a report for the judge. He'll want to know if this marriage is legitimate or just a ploy to gain custody of the child. Walter felt invaded. And how will you determine that? Through questions, observing your behavior, analyzing the situation. Richard, Jessica, and I are adults. We married because we wanted to. I understand, Mr. Johnson, but in custody disputes, everything must be examined. Richard's assessment was uncomfortable. He asked intimate questions about Walter and Jessica's relationship, wanting details about how they slept, how they interacted, how they divided chores. Do you sleep in the same room? Asked Richard. Walter and Jessica exchanged glances. Since the wedding, they had kept separate rooms. No, Jessica answered. Why? Because we're still adjusting, said Walter. Richard made a note. And how do you divide household tasks? I work part-time and take care of Michael in the afternoon, Jessica replied. Walter works at Pine Grove Cemetery and helps me with the baby at night. And your financial situation? Stable, said Walter. My pension plus Jessica's salary is enough to live comfortably. What about future plans? Walter and Jessica exchanged glances again. They hadn't discussed long-term plans. We want to raise Michael with love and responsibility, said Jessica. And more children? The question caught them off. God, we haven't thought about that yet, Walter replied. Why not? Because we're focused on Michael right now. Richard took more notes and then asked to speak with each of them separately. First, he talked to Jessica. Jessica, do you love Walter? The question was direct and awkward. I care about him deeply. But do you love him? I love him as a special person in my life. That's not a wife's love, Jessica. And how do you know what kind of love I feel? Why did you get married then? To give Michael a family, just for that? No. Also because we get along, because we support each other, because we take care of one another. That's friendship, not marriage. And who says marriage can't be based on friendship and companionship? Richard wrote everything down and then spoke with Walter. Mr. Johnson, why did you marry Jessica? Because she's a good person and because I want to help her raise Michael. Do you love her? Walter hesitated. I care for her deeply. Care isn't love. Richard, I lost my wife 23 years ago. I thought I'd never love anyone again. What I feel for Jessica is different from what I felt for Deborah, but it's still special. Did you marry just to get custody of Michael? I married because I want to build a family with Jessica and Michael. If it helps with custody, even better. But if the judge decides Ryan should keep the child, will you stay married? The question left Walter speechless. He hadn't considered that possibility. I don't know, I'd have to talk to Jessica. After Richard left, Walter and Jessica felt uneasy around each other. I don't think we did very well, said Jessica. I don't think so either. They want answers we don't have. Like what? Like whether we love each other, if we plan to have kids, if we'll stay married, if we lose Michael. Do we know the answers to those questions? Walter looked at Jessica, who was bathing Michael. Jessica, can I ask you something? Go ahead. Do you regret marrying me? Jessica stopped what she was doing and looked at Walter. No, do you? No, I don't. Even knowing it might not change anything. Even then, because at least we tried. Walter, can I tell you something? Of course. These 2 weeks living with you have been the best of my life. Why? Because for the first time I felt safe, protected, like I had a real family. Walter was moved. Jessica, you're like a daughter to me, and Michael is like my grandson. And to me, you're like the father I never had. Then our family is real, even if it's different. Yes, very real. That night, for the first time since marrying, Walter and Jessica had a deep conversation about their feelings and expectations. Walter, what will happen if we lose Michael? Asked Jessica. I don't know. It'll be very hard. Do you want us to stay married even if that happens? Walter thought about it. I do, and you? I do too. Even without Michael, I like living with you. But Jessica, you're so young. One day you'll want to date someone your age. Maybe. But that doesn't mean our marriage has to end. How so? We can still be family, even if one of us finds someone else to love romantically. That's too modern for me, Jessica. It doesn't have to be complicated. We take care of each other, respect each other, support each other. If I ever date someone, you'll meet them and give your opinion. If you ever like someone, I'll support you too. What if we have biological children with other people? They'll be Michael's siblings and our children too. Walter smiled. You're very wise for 19. I had to be. Life taught me early. 2 weeks later, the DNA results came in. As expected, Ryan was indeed Michael's biological father. The next day, everyone gathered at the courthouse for the first custody hearing. The judge, William Thompson, was a middle-aged man, stern but seemingly fair. I'll hear each side before making a decision, said the judge. Ryan and his lawyer spoke first. Your Honor, my client is the child's biological father and wants to take responsibility. He has excellent financial means, owns a home, and has a stable job. He can provide the best for his son. And the child's mother? Asked the judge. The mother is a minor. Jessica is an adult, interrupted the public defender, representing Walter and Jessica. Well, she's a young woman with no resources who married a much older man, obviously to gain custody of the child. Objection, said the public defender. That's speculation. Sustained, said the judge. Continue. Your Honor, a child needs stability, resources, and a future. My client can provide all of that. Then it was the public defender's turn. Your Honor, Michael is 3 weeks old. Since birth, he's been cared for by his mother with the help of Walter Johnson. He's healthy, well cared for, and loved. Ryan Cooper abandoned Jessica when he found out about the pregnancy and only showed up now after the child was born. But now he wants to take responsibility, said the judge. Yes, but a child isn't an object you pick up when it's convenient. Michael has already formed emotional bonds. At 3 weeks? Yes, Your Honor. Babies form bonds from the first days of life. The judge called Richard to give his professional opinion. Richard, what's your assessment of the situation? Your Honor, this is an unusual case. The couple Walter and Jessica have a significant age difference and married recently, seemingly to strengthen the custody request. But I observed they care for the child well and share genuine affection. And Ryan Cooper? I haven't had the chance to evaluate his caregiving conditions as he only appeared recently. What do you recommend? I recommend an observation, period. Let Michael stay with each parent for a while so we can see how he adjusts. Jessica was frantic. No, I won't let my son stay with him. The judge banged the gavel. Order. Mrs. Jessica, I understand your concern, but I must consider all possibilities. Your Honor, said the public defender, the child is only 3 weeks old. Separating him from his mother at this age could be traumatic. For how long? The judge asked Richard. I suggest 15 days with each. No, Jessica shouted. I don't agree. The judge addressed her directly. Mrs. Jessica, you will have to comply. This is a court order. Then, I'll appeal. You may appeal, but until the decision is made, you must follow the order. Ryan was beaming. Thank you, Your Honor. The judge continued. Ryan, you'll have 15 days to prove you can properly care for Michael. If there's any issue, the child returns to his mother immediately. You can count on me, Your Honor. My son will have the best care. And after those 15 days, then I'll make a final decision on custody. Leaving the courthouse, Jessica was inconsolable. Walter, they're taking my son. Only for 15 days, Jessica. What if they do something to him? What if they don't care for him right? We'll monitor it. We'll demand daily visits. Do you think they'll allow it? They'll have to. It's the mothers. Right. The following week, Walter, Jessica, and Michael had to report to Ryan's home for the temporary transfer. Ryan's house was indeed large and beautiful. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a spacious living room, and a modern kitchen. It was impeccably clean and tidy. I prepared Michael's room, said Ryan, showing off a new expensive crib full of toys. He doesn't need all that, said Jessica. He needs affection. He'll get that too. My mother will. Help me. Your mother? Walter didn't like that. Yes, she knows about babies. She'll teach me. Barbara came out from the kitchen. I came to prepare things for my grandson. What things? Asked Jessica. Special foods, proper milk, quality hygiene products. Michael drinks regular milk, diluted in water, said Walter. That's outrageous, Barbara exclaimed. A child should have proper baby formula. He's always had regular milk and never had a problem. Well, now he'll have what's right. Jessica handed Michael to Ryan with tears in her eyes. Take good care of him. He feeds every 3 hours, likes soft music to sleep, doesn't like loud noises. Relax, Jessica. I know how to take care of him. You've never cared for a baby in your life. That's why my mother is here. Ryan, can I come visit him every day? You can, but not for too long. He needs to get used to me. What if he cries a lot? Kids cry, it's normal. Walter watched Ryan holding Michael. The young man was clearly nervous, unsure of the right way to hold the baby. Ryan, support his head, Walter advised. I know what I'm doing. Doesn't look like it. Listen here, old man. Ryan, Barbara intervened. Show respect to Mr. Johnson. Sorry, but I'll learn how to take care of my son. Leaving Ryan's house, Jessica cried the whole way. What now, Walter? 2 weeks without seeing my baby. You can visit every day. But it's not the same. I won't be there when he cries at night, when he's hungry, when he needs to be held. Jessica, it'll be okay. You'll see. But Walter was more worried than he let on. He had seen Ryan's nervousness, Barbara's arrogance, and feared they wouldn't take proper care of Michael. On the first day, Jessica showed up at Ryan's house at 9 in the morning. Hi, I came to see Michael. He's sleeping, said Ryan, who who looked exhausted. "Can I see him sleeping?" "Sure, but don't make noise." Jessica went to the room and found Michael crying in his crib. "Ryan, he's crying. Let him. Kids have to learn to sleep on their own. But he might be hungry, cold, or need a diaper change." "My mom said this is normal." Jessica picked Michael up, and he immediately calmed down. "See? He just wanted to be held." "Jessica, you can't hold him all the time. You'll spoil him." "Spoil him with affection? That's not a thing." "My mom says it is." Jessica checked Michael and noticed his diaper was dirty. "Ryan, when was the last time you changed him?" "I don't know, so maybe 2 hours ago. He has a rash. Look how red it is." "That's normal, right?" "No, it's not. A dirty diaper hurts the baby." Jessica carefully changed Michael's diaper, cleaned the rash, and applied ointment. "Ryan, you have to change him every time he poops." Okay. What about his bottle? When did he last eat?" "About 6 hours ago." 6 hours? Ryan, babies eat every 3 hours. But he was sleeping. If he slept for 6 hours, it's because he was weak from hunger. Jessica prepared a bottle and Michael drank desperately. "See how hungry he was? I didn't know." "That's why I told you not to take him. You don't know how to care for him." "I'll learn." "Learn at the expense of my son's suffering?" "No." The argument was interrupted by Barbara's arrival. "What's going on here?" "Your son doesn't know how to take care of a baby," Jessica said angrily. "What do you mean?" "Michael went 6 hours without eating, had a dirty diaper and was crying alone in his crib." Barbara glared at Ryan. "Ryan, didn't I explain everything to you yesterday?" "You did, Mom. But it's harder than I thought." "That's why I said to hire a nanny." "A nanny?" Jessica was outraged. "You're leaving my son with a stranger?" "With a professional," Barbara corrected. "Michael doesn't need a professional. He needs his parents. And he'll have them. But while Ryan learns, a nanny can help. If you don't know how to care for him, give him back to me." "No way," Ryan said. "I just need more time to learn." "How much time?" "Meanwhile, my son suffers." The situation grew tense. Jessica didn't want to leave Michael, but Ryan was getting agitated by her presence. "Jessica, you can come back tomorrow," Ryan said. "I want to stay longer." "You can't. He needs to get used to me." "How will he get used to you if you don't even know how to change his diaper?" "I'll learn. And if you don't, I will learn." Jessica left Ryan's house in despair. She called Walter and told him everything. "Walter, they don't know how to take care of Michael. He was hungry, his diaper was dirty, crying." "Calm down, Jessica. It was just the first day." "And what if every day is like this?" "Then we document everything and show it to the judge." "Document how?" "Write everything down. Times, the conditions you found Michael in, what they did wrong. And if that doesn't work, it will. The judge wants what's best for the child above all else." On the second day, Jessica returned to Ryan's house and found a stranger taking care of Michael. "Who are you?" Jessica asked. "I'm Martha, the nanny. Mr. Cooper hired me." "Where is he?" "He went to work." "And he left my son with you?" "It's my job, dear." Jessica checked on Michael, who seemed better cared for. "How did he sleep?" "Well, he nursed at midnight, 3 and 6. "And the diaper?" "I change it whenever needed." Jessica was relieved to see Michael being well cared for, but also felt replaced. "How long have you worked with babies?" 20 years. I've taken care of dozens of children." "And Ryan? How is he doing?" Martha hesitated. "He's learning." "Does that mean he's not doing well?" "It means he still needs help." "What kind of help?" "Well, last night he couldn't get Michael to stop crying. He called me in a panic at 2 in the morning. "And you came?" "I did. The baby had colic. He needed a tummy massage." "And Ryan didn't know how?" "No. He said he'd never heard of baby colic." Jessica felt justified in her concerns. "And will you be here all the time?" "During the day, yes. At night he tries to handle it alone, but if he needs me, he calls." "So Ryan can't even take care of his son for one full night?" "Not yet, but he's trying." When Ryan got home from work, he found Jessica playing with Michael. "Hi, how's Michael?" "Better than yesterday," Jessica replied. "Martha took good care of him." "Yeah, she's good." "Ryan, can I say something?" "Go ahead." If you need a full-time nanny, maybe it's better to give Michael back to me. So why? Because Martha is the one taking care of him, not you. But I'm learning. Learning what? You barely spend time with him. I work. And when you're not working, last night you called Martha at 2 in the morning. It was just once. Ryan, being a father isn't just about providing money. It's about being present, knowing your child's needs, having patience. I have patience, do you? Yesterday you left Michael crying in his crib because kids have to learn to sleep alone. My mom said, "Your mom isn't." Michael's mother, I am. The argument was interrupted by Barbara's arrival. What's going on here now? I'm explaining to Ryan that he's not taking good care of Michael, Jessica said. How is he not? We hired the best nanny in town. Exactly. You outsourced my son's care. Jessica, be realistic, Barbara said. Ryan works. He can't stay home taking care of a baby all day. Then he shouldn't have asked for custody. He can give the boy everything he needs, a home, food, education, healthcare, except love and presence. Love builds over time. Presence doesn't build. You're either there or you're not. Ryan tried to defend himself. Jessica, I'm doing my best. Your best is leaving a stranger to take care of your son. Martha isn't a stranger. She's a professional. To me, she is. I didn't choose her to care for my son. But I did. And who are you to choose? You don't even know how to change a diaper, right? The argument was heating up when Martha stepped in. Everyone, the baby's asleep. Let's keep it down. They all quieted, but the tension lingered. Jessica, you can come back tomorrow, Ryan said. I want to stay until he goes to bed tonight. You can't. I've already said he needs to get used to me. How's he supposed to get used to you when Martha's the one taking care of him? I take care of him at night. By calling. The nanny when he cries. That only happened once. What if it happens again tonight? It won't. How can you be sure? Because I'll try harder. Jessica left the house frustrated once again. She called Walter and vented, Walter, this isn't working. Ryan doesn't know how to take care of Michael. He hired a nanny. And when he's alone with him, he has no idea what to do. Keep documenting everything, Jessica. What for? The judge won't believe my word over his. Yes, he will, especially if you have proof. What kind of proof? Record the conversations, note the times, ask the nanny herself to confirm his struggles. Do you think Martha would speak against Ryan? If she's a true professional, she'll tell the truth. On the third day, Jessica tried a different approach. Instead of confronting Ryan, she tried to win Martha's trust. Martha, can I ask you a few questions about Michael? Of course. How's he adjusting? Well, as much as possible, but he's still very unsettled. He cries more than before. And Ryan, how's he handling it? Martha glanced around to make sure Ryan wasn't listening. Can I be honest? Please. He's really struggling. He has no patience with the baby, doesn't understand his cues, gets nervous when Michael cries. And what do? I take over, it's my job. But that means Ryan isn't taking care of his own son. He's trying, but it's hard. Kids are a lot of work. They need full dedication. Do you think he'll ever learn? Honestly, I doubt it. He's just not cut out for taking care of a baby. Why? He gets stressed easily, has no patience, and always has other priorities. Yesterday, he went out to meet friends and left Michael with me until 2 a.m. on his night to take care of his son. Yeah, he said he needed to relax because he was too stressed. Jessica felt a mix of anger and relief. Anger at knowing Ryan was neglecting Michael, but relief at having a professional witness to the situation. Martha, would you be willing to say this in front of a judge? If necessary, yes, my commitment is to the child's well-being. Thank you for being honest. Jessica, can I give you some advice? Of course. Fight for your son. He needs you. That day, Jessica managed to stay longer at Ryan's house because he came home late from work. Sorry I'm late, Ryan said. I had some things to take care of. What things? Jessica asked. Work. Until 8 p.m. Yeah, it was a meeting. Martha and Jessica exchanged glances. Both knew Ryan wasn't telling the truth. Well, I'll take care of Michael now, Ryan said. Want me to help? Martha offered. No need. You can go home. After Martha left, Jessica watched Ryan try to care for Michael. It was painful to see. The guy clearly had no idea what he was doing. Michael started crying and Ryan grew tense. Why is he crying? Could be hunger, sleep, a dirty diaper, colic, Jessica said. How am I supposed to know? Check one thing at a time. Ryan tried giving him a bottle, but Michael refused. He doesn't want to eat. Then check his diaper. The diaper was clean. Now what? Maybe he's tired. Try putting him to sleep. Ryan rocked Michael awkwardly, and the baby cried harder. It's not working. Calm down, Ryan. Babies sense when you're stressed. How am I not supposed to be stressed? He won't stop crying. Because that's normal. Babies cry. But for how long? Until you figure out what he wants. Ryan tried for another 15 minutes with no success. Michael kept crying, and Ryan grew more frustrated. Jessica, help me, he begged, desperate. Jessica picked up Michael in her arms and he calmed down within seconds. How did you do that? Practice and affection. But I have affection too. Do you? Or is it pride? What do you mean? Ryan, do you want Michael to prove you're capable or because you truly love him? Ryan fell silent, clearly uncomfortable with the question. I want to take care of my son. Taking care isn't just about giving him a home and food, it's about being present, having patience, giving things up for the child. I do give things up. Do you? Yesterday you went out to meet friends and left Michael with the babysitter until 2 in the morning. Ryan turned red. Who told you that? It doesn't matter. What matters is that it's true. I need to have my own life too. Of course you do. But when you have a child, they become the priority. And you, don't you have your own life? No, since Michael was born, my life has been him. That's not healthy. It's love, Ryan. A mother's love. Ryan looked at Michael, who was peaceful in Jessica's arms. Jessica, can I ask you something? Go ahead. Do you think I'm a bad father? The question caught Jessica off guard. It was the first time Ryan had shown insecurity. I think you're trying, but you're not ready. And when will I be ready? Maybe never. Maybe you're just not cut out to care for a baby. Does that mean I'm a bad person? No, it means everyone has their own talents. Yours isn't caring for a small child. But he's my son, and he always will be. But that doesn't mean you have to raise him. Ryan grew thoughtful. What if I visited him instead of having custody? Jessica felt a flicker of hope. Is that possible? I don't know. I'd have to talk to my lawyer. Ryan, would you really do that? Maybe, if it's best for Michael. It would be. I'm sure it would be. That night, for the first time, in 3 days, Jessica left Ryan's house with hope. Maybe he was finally realizing he wasn't ready for custody of Michael. But the next day, her hopes were shattered. When she arrived at Ryan's house, she found Barbara furious. What did you do to my son? What do you mean? Ryan is having doubts about keeping Michael. This is your fault. Barbara, I just talked to him honestly. You manipulated him. I didn't manipulate anyone. I just showed him the truth. The truth is that Michael is Ryan's son, and a child belongs with his father. A child belongs with whoever takes good care of him. And Ryan does. Does he? He can barely spend 2 hours alone with Michael, because he's still learning. And while he learns, Michael suffers. The argument was interrupted by Ryan's arrival, who seemed to have changed his mind again. Jessica, I've thought it over. I'm keeping custody of Michael. Jessica's heart sank. Why? Yesterday you said... Yesterday I was confused, but I talked to my mother, and she made me... See, I can't give up on my son. Ryan, it's not giving up. It's admitting you're not ready. Every father learns by doing. But while you learn, Michael suffers. He's not suffering. He's being well taken care of. By the babysitter. So what? Lots of kids are cared for by babysitters. Kids whose parents work all day, not kids whose parents don't know how to care for them. Barbara stepped in. Jessica, you're being unfair. Ryan is trying. Trying? He goes out to meet friends and leaves Michael with the babysitter. That was one time. That's the one. I know about. How many other times were there? Ryan defended himself. Jessica, I have a right to a social life. You do, but not when it means neglecting your son. I'm not neglecting him, aren't you? Then tell me, what time does Michael eat? How many times a day? What cream do you use for diaper rash? How do you get him to sleep when he has colic? Ryan stayed silent. Clearly, he couldn't answer any of the questions. See, said Jessica. You don't even know your own son's basic needs, but I can learn. At his expense? No. At that moment, Michael, who was in Martha's arms, started crying. Ryan stepped forward to take him, but the baby cried harder. Why does he cry with me? Asked Ryan, frustrated. Because you're still a stranger to him, replied Jessica, taking Michael into her arms. Immediately, Michael calmed down. It's just a matter of time, said Barbara. Barbara, a 3-week-old baby shouldn't be afraid of his father, said Jessica. That only happens when the father isn't present. Ryan is present. Is he? Today is the 4th day he's been caring for Michael. And how many hours has he actually spent alone with him? 2? 3? That doesn't matter. Yes, it does. How can a child bond with someone who barely spends time with him? Ryan, who had stayed quiet during the argument, finally exploded. Enough! You all talk as if I'm some kind of monster. I'm trying to be a good father. Ryan, no one's saying you're a monster, said Jessica, calmer now. We're saying you're not ready to have full custody of a baby. When will I be ready? Maybe when Michael is older, when he doesn't need such intensive care. That'll take years. So what? What's the rush? Ryan didn't have an answer. Ryan, Jessica continued, you can be a present father by visiting Michael, taking him out when he's older, being part of his life. You don't need custody to be a dad. But everyone will say I abandoned my son. Who's everyone? My friends, my family, my job? Oh, so that's it? You want custody just to avoid gossip? It's not just that. Then what is it? Ryan fell silent again. Jessica realized she'd hit the core of the issue. Ryan, do you really want to be a father, or do you just want to save face? I want to be a father. But I didn't know it'd be this hard. It is very hard. That's why most people wait until they're ready to have kids. But Michael's already here. I can't turn back now. You can't undo fatherhood, but you can choose what kind of father you want to be. What kinds are there? The present. Father who cares, the present father who visits, the absent father who pays child support, the absent father who disappears. You get to choose. Ryan looked at Michael, who was peacefully nursing in Jessica's arms. And you? What kind of father do you think I'd be best at? Honestly, a present father who visits, at least until you're more mature. What if I never mature enough to care for a baby? Then you keep being a present father who visits. There's nothing wrong with that. My mother thinks there is. Your mother isn't the one who'll wake up at dawn to give him a bottle. Barbara, who'd been listening to the whole conversation, spoke up. Jessica, you're manipulating my son. I'm not manipulating, I'm being realistic. Realistic is knowing a child needs his father. He does, but he needs a present, loving, patient father. Not a stressed out one who outsources the care. Ryan can learn to be that father. He can, but not now, not with a 3-week-old baby. The argument was interrupted by the arrival of Richard, the social worker, who showed up for a surprise visit. Good afternoon, I'm here to check how the adjustment is going. Everyone tensed up at Richard's presence. Everything's fine, said Ryan, trying to sound confident. And how is Michael adjusting? Well, he's still a little uneasy, but that's normal. Richard picked Michael up and observed his reaction. The baby fidgeted but didn't cry. And the routines, how are those working? Good too, Ryan answered. Ryan, show me Michael's care schedule. Schedule? Yes, bottle times, diaper changes, baths, naps. Ryan turned red. I don't have a schedule. So, how do you manage the care routine? The nanny handles it, Richard wrote. Something down. Is the nanny full-time? During the day, yes. And at night? At night, I take over. Alone? Ryan hesitated. Most of the time. Richard turned to Martha. Martha, how have the nights been? Martha glanced nervously at Ryan. Well, Mr. Ryan is trying his best, but he's having difficulties. A little, but it's normal for a new father. What kind of difficulties? Well, he doesn't always recognize the baby's cues. And what does he do when he can't figure it out? Sometimes he calls me. Often? Martha looked at Ryan, again a few times. Richard jotted down more notes and then addressed Jessica. And you, Jessica, how do you assess the situation? I think Ryan is trying, but he's not ready to care for Michael alone yet. Why? Because he doesn't know a baby's basic needs, gets stressed easily, and leaves most of the care to the nanny. Ryan snapped, Jessica is exaggerating. Am I? Then answer me. What time did Michael nurse today? Ryan looked at Martha, who whispered, 1:30. 1:30, Ryan repeated. And before that? Ryan glanced at Martha again. 9:30, she whispered. 9:30, Ryan said. Richard noticed. Ryan, are you answering based on what the nanny is saying? No, I know the times. Then tell me, how many diapers has Michael dirtied today? Ryan stayed silent. Ryan, I didn't count. And last night, did you manage to care for him alone? I did. The whole night, most of it. Richard turned to Martha. Martha, can you be more specific about the nights? Martha looked uncomfortable. Mr. Ryan calls when he struggles. What kind of struggles? When Michael cries and he can't calm him. How often does that happen? Almost every night. Ryan turned red. It's not almost every night. Ryan, how many nights have you managed to care for Michael without help? Richard asked. Ryan stayed quiet. Ryan? None, he finally admitted. Richard took more notes and then announced, I'll prepare a report on the situation. For the judge. What kind of report? Ryan asked, worried. A technical report on the care conditions. And what will it say? The truth, that you're trying but still struggling a lot. After Richard left, the atmosphere in the house grew tense. Ryan, you lied to the social worker, Barbara said. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell everything. That's lying. Mom, if I told everything, they'd take Michael away from me. And maybe that's for the best, Jessica burst out. And what do you mean? Ryan, you can't take care of your son, admit it. I'm learning. For 5 days, and it's getting worse. It's not worse, isn't it? Yesterday. You called Martha 3 times during the night. How do you know? Martha told me herself. Ryan glared at the nanny. Martha, are you telling her everything? Mr. Ryan, I only answered her question. You work for me, not her. I work for the child's well-being, Martha replied with dignity. Then you're fired. Ryan, Barbara shouted, you can't fire Martha. Why not? Because without her, you can't take care of Michael. Barbara's words hung in the silent room. Everyone realized she'd spoken the truth unintentionally. Mom, Ryan said softly. Ryan, sweetheart, I just meant... You meant I'm incompetent. No, I meant you're still learning. How long will I keep learning? A month, a year, 10 years? No one had an answer. Ryan sat on the couch and buried his head in his hands. I don't know what to... Jessica walked over and sat beside him. Ryan, can I give you some advice? Go ahead, give up custody. At least for now. So? Then you can be a father the best way you can. Visit Michael, play with him, show him affection, without the pressure of having to take care of him alone. What about you? Will you let me visit? Of course. Michael is your son. He needs to know his father. And when he's older? When he's older, if you want and are ready, you can ask for custody again. Do you promise? I promise I don't want to take you out of Michael's life. I just want him to be with whoever can take better care of him right now. Ryan stayed thoughtful for a long time. Finally, he looked at Michael, who was sleeping peacefully in Jessica's arms. Jessica, can I hold him? Of course. Ryan carefully took Michael. The baby opened his little eyes and stared at him without crying. Hi, Michael, Daddy's here. Michael made a soft noise as if responding. He's beautiful, huh? Said Ryan. Very, Jessica agreed. And you take good care of him. I do. Better than I could. Ryan, no, it's... Truth, you know what he needs, I don't. You have patience, I don't. You gave up your life for him, I couldn't even give up one night with friends. You can still learn. Maybe, but not now. Ryan handed Michael back to Jessica. Okay, I'll give up custody. Barbara was shocked. Ryan, you can't. Yes, I can, Mom. It's better for Michael. But what will people say? Let them talk. I'd rather they say I was a responsible father than an incompetent one. Jessica felt a wave of relief. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for making me see reality. So now, what do we do? I'll talk to my lawyer. I'll drop the custody request and ask for visitation rights. What kind of visits? I don't know. Whatever you think is best. How about starting with a few hours a week? When Michael's older, maybe weekends. That works for me. That night, for the first time in 5 days, Jessica slept at home, with Michael by her side. Walter was overjoyed. We did it, Jessica. We did. Ryan realized he wasn't ready. And he'll visit Michael? Yes. A few hours a week. I think that's best for everyone. I think so too. Walter picked up Michael. Welcome back, little one. Michael smiled, or at least Walter thought he did. Look, Jessica, he smiled at me. A 3-week-old baby doesn't smile, Walter, probably just gas. Doesn't matter, to me it was a smile. The next day, Ryan went to the courthouse to withdraw his custody request. The judge was surprised. Are you sure, Ryan? Yes, Your Honor. I realized I'm not ready to take care of a baby. And do you plan to visit the child? I do. I want to be part of his life, but without full responsibility. Very well. I'll approve your withdrawal and set up a visitation schedule. Thank you, Your Honor. When Ryan left the courthouse, he felt relieved. For the first time in weeks, he didn't feel the weight of taking care of Michael alone. He called Jessica. Jessica, it's all settled. I officially gave up custody. Thank you, Ryan. Can I visit Michael today? Sure. What time? How about this afternoon? That's fine. When Ryan arrived at Walter's house, that afternoon he found a very different atmosphere from his own home. It wasn't fancy, but it was cozy. Michael was in Walter's arms, who was humming softly to him. Hi, Michael, said Ryan. Daddy's here to visit. Walter handed the baby to Ryan, who held him with more care and tenderness than before. He's bigger, Ryan observed. Babies grow fast, said Jessica. And he's calmer, with me. Because you're calmer too. That's true, I'm not afraid of doing something wrong anymore. Because there's no pressure now. You can just enjoy him. Ryan spent 2 hours playing with Michael, feeding him, changing his diaper with Jessica's help. For the first time, he seemed to truly be enjoying fatherhood. Jessica, can I come tomorrow too? You can, whenever you want. What about the weekend? That's fine too. Thank you for not stopping me from seeing him. Ryan, I never wanted to stop you. I just wanted Michael to be in good hands. And he is. I can see you take good care of him. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, continuing. In the weeks that followed, a new routine took shape. Ryan visited Michael 3 times a week, always for a few hours. Little by little, he learned to care for the baby without pressure at his own pace. Ryan's doing much better now, Jessica remarked to Walter. Because he doesn't have full responsibility, he can be a father on his own time. And Michael enjoys the visits. He doesn't shy away from Ryan anymore. It's good that way. A child should know both parents. A month after the legal dispute ended, Walter and Jessica received an unexpected visit. It was Amanda from Child Protective Services. I came to check on you, Amanda said. We're doing well, Jessica replied. Michael is growing, developing normally. And Ryan, how are the visits going? Very well, he comes 3 times a week, slowly learning how to care for Michael. Does he still want custody? No. I think he understands this is better. Amanda, observed Michael, who was chubbier, more active, clearly healthy and happy. You did the right thing, Amanda said. Both you and Ryan, sometimes true love means knowing when to let go. Ryan let go of custody, but not fatherhood, Jessica added. I think it was best for everyone. I agree, Amanda said. And you too. How's the marriage? Walter and Jessica exchanged glances. It was a question that unsettled them, because there was no simple answer. It's working, Walter said. Working how? Like a partnership. We get along, take care of Michael together, support each other. But is it a real marriage? Jessica hesitated. It's different from what people expect. But it works for us. Do you plan on having children together? The question caught them off guard. They'd never discussed it. We haven't thought about it yet, Jessica said. Why not? Because our situation is complicated, Walter replied. Complicated how? There's a 48-year age gap, Jessica said. I don't know if it'd be fair to have kids. Fair to whom? To the children. Imagine explaining at school that their father is old enough to be a great-grandfather. Amanda jotted a few notes before saying goodbye. Well, what matters is that Michael is well cared for. That's the important thing. After Amanda left, Walter and Jessica grew thoughtful. Walter, would you like to have more children? Jessica asked. Jessica, I'm 67. If a child were 10, I'd be 77. So? What if I die? The child would lose their father too young. Anyone could die, Walter. It's not about age, but the odds are higher. Do you have health problems? No, but then don't worry about it now. What about you? Would you like more children? Maybe, but not now. Right now, I want to focus on Michael. The conversation was interrupted by Michael's cries as he woke from his nap. Jessica picked him up while Walter prepared the bottle. Look how well we work together, Jessica noted. It's true, each of us knows our role. You don't feel strange caring for a baby who isn't your biological grandson. Michael is my grandson in my heart. That matters more than biology. And me? Am I your daughter in your heart? Walter smiled. Yes, the daughter I never had. And you're the father I always wanted. 2 months later, when Michael was nearly 3 months old, Walter and Jessica's lives were shaken by an unexpected turn. Walter came home from work with bad news. Jessica, I need to tell you something. What is it? Pine Grove Cemetery is going to be run by a private company. They're firing all the long-time employees. Jessica was shocked. Does that mean you'll lose your job? It means I'll retire sooner than I planned. But are you eligible for retirement? Yes, 42 years of service. I can retire whenever I want. Then it's not so bad. The problem is, my pension will be less than my current salary, much less, about 30% less. Jessica did the math in her head. Can we live on your pension plus my salary? We can, but it'll be tight. Then I'll look for another job, one that pays better. Jessica, you only finished the first year of high school. It'll be hard to find something that pays much more. Then I'll go back to school. And who will take care of Michael? You'll be retired anyway. Walter thought about the idea. That makes sense, but it'll take time for you to graduate. So it's a long-term plan. In the meantime, we'll manage with what we have. The next day, Jessica went to the bakery to say she was looking for another job. I can't pay you more, Jessica, said Mr. George, the owner. The bakery isn't doing well. I understand, Mr. George, but I need to earn more. And where will you find a better job? I don't know yet, but I'll look. Jessica, can I give you some advice? Sure. Go back to school. At least finish high school. Then you'll have more opportunities. That's what I'm thinking of doing. There's a night school nearby. You could work during the day and study at night. What about Michael? Can't your husband take care of him? He can. He's retiring anyway. That night, Jessica talked to Walter about going back to school. What do you think? I think it's a good idea. Education is the one thing no one can take from you. But it'll be hard. Working all day, studying at night, taking care of Michael. We'll make it work. I'll take care of Michael at night while you study. Would you have the patience? Jessica, I raised a child. I know how to take care of kids, but that was a long time ago. Taking care of a baby is like riding a bike. You never forget. Jessica felt encouraged by Walter's support. Then it's settled. I'll enroll in night school. How long will it take to finish? 2 years if I don't fail anything. And after that? Then I'll see if I do a technical course or try for college. College, why not? Don't you think I'm capable? I think you're capable of anything you want, Jessica. I just worry about the time and money. One step at a time. First, I'll finish high school. The following week, Jessica enrolled in night school and started looking for a better job. It wasn't easy. Most jobs required a high school diploma or experience she didn't have. After 2 weeks of searching, she got a job as a cashier at a supermarket. The pay was only slightly better than the bakeries, but it came with meal vouchers and health benefits. At least there are some perks, she told Walter. What about the hours? 8 to 5, I'll leave here, go to work, come back, have dinner, and then go to school. And Michael? When will you have time with him? Early mornings, before work, and on weekends. Don't you think it's too hectic? It's what we can do for now. Once I graduate, things will get easier. The new routine was hard on everyone. Jessica left at 7 in the morning and didn't return until 11 at night. Walter, who was still working his final weeks at the cemetery, took care of Michael in the afternoons and evenings. Michael, now 3 months old, was more active and needed more attention. Walter, who hadn't cared for a baby in over 20 years, had to relearn a lot of things. "Walter, why is Michael crying?" asked Jessica when she got home from school on a Friday. "I don't know. He's been like this for an hour. Did you try everything? Bottle, diaper, holding him, music? Let me see." Jessica picked Michael up and noticed he had a fever. "Walter, he's burning up." "Burning how?" "With a fever. We need to take him to the doctor. Now it's almost midnight. A fever in a baby is an emergency." Walter and Jessica rushed to the hospital with Michael. The doctor examined the baby and said it was a throat infection, nothing serious, but he needed antibiotics. "Why did you wait so long to bring him in?" asked the doctor. "We didn't realize it was a fever," admitted Walter. "A baby with a fever gets weak, fussy, and loses their appetite. Didn't you notice? We noticed he was crying more, but we thought it was normal. It's not normal. Babies only cry when something's wrong." Leaving the hospital, Jessica felt guilty. "Walter, if I had been here, I would have noticed the fever sooner." "Bah, Jessica, don't blame yourself. I should have noticed. You're doing the best you can. The problem is, I'm not around enough. You're working and studying. It's important for the future. But what about the present? What about Michael? Michael is fine. It was just a little infection. What if it had been something worse? It wasn't. And if it had been, we would have handled it." But the incident left Jessica unsettled. She felt like she couldn't balance work, school, and motherhood. The following week, things got even more complicated when Ryan showed up with news. "Jessica, I'm moving." "Moving where?" "To New York City. I got a better job there." "What about Michael?" "That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I won't be able to visit him 3 times a week." Jessica's heart sank. "Are you going to stop seeing him?" "No, never, but it'll be different. Maybe once a month or every couple of months." "Michael will miss you. He's used to you being around." "I know, but I don't have a choice. It's a really good job opportunity." So when are you leaving?" "Next week." "So soon?" "Yeah, that's why I came to tell you." Walter, who had stayed quiet during the conversation, spoke up. "Ryan, are you sure about this?" "I don't want to, but I have to. It's my career. Career is important, but so is family." "You're Michael's family. I'm just the biological dad who visits." "You're more than that," said Jessica. "Michael loves you, and I love him. But you, too, take care of him. I just visit." "What if you can't come back often?" "Fads, then you can bring him to visit me in New York sometimes." "Ryan, this is really complicated." "I know, but that's life." Ryan's goodbye was emotional. He spent the whole afternoon playing with Michael, as if trying to memorize every moment. "Take care of Daddy, Michael," Ryan said, holding the baby. "Daddy's going to work far away, but he'll think of you every day." Michael, who now recognized people, looked at Ryan curiously, as if sensing something was different. "I'm going to miss him," Ryan admitted to Jessica. "He'll miss you too." "Will you talk about me to him?" "Of course. We'll show him pictures, tell him stories. He'll know who his father is." "Thank you. You're both really good people." "You are too, Ryan. You just needed to grow up a little." "Do you think I have?" "I do." The Ryan from 2 months. Helga wouldn't have admitted he wasn't ready. "That's true. I've learned a lot from you." After Ryan left, the house felt quieter. Michael seemed to look for him in the first few days. "Does he understand Ryan is gone?" Jessica asked Walter. "Babies sense when someone who was part of their routine disappears. Will he forget Ryan?" "I don't know. It depends on when Ryan comes back. What if it takes too long? Then we'll have to reintroduce him little by little." Meanwhile, Jessica's heavy routine was taking its toll. She was tired, stressed, and her grades at school had started to drop. "Jessica, are you okay?" Walter asked one night when she came home from school looking worn out. "I'm tired, really tired. It's a lot to handle. Work, school, the house. Michael." "I know, but I don't have a choice." "Yes, you do. You could stop working and focus just on your studies." "And how would we pay the bills?" "With my pension. It'll be tight, but we'll manage." "Walter, your pension barely covers 2 people. With 3, it's impossible." "We'll try. And if it doesn't work out, you can go back to work." Jessica thought about the offer. "Are you do that for me?" "I'd do it for us. If you graduate sooner, you'll get a better job faster too." "But what if I don't make it? What if I fail?" "You won't fail. You're smart and determined. I'm afraid of disappointing you." "Jessica, you've already given me so much more than I ever expected from life. There's no way you could disappoint me." The following week, Jessica quit her job at the supermarket to focus entirely on her studies. Money was tight, but she was able to concentrate better at school. Walter, now retired, took full responsibility for Michael during the day. It was an adjustment period, but little by little he got back into the swing of caring for a baby. "How do you get him to sleep so fast?" Jessica asked one afternoon. "Experience," Walter replied, rocking Michael in his arms. "Can you teach?" "Me? It's about patience and rhythm. Babies can sense when we're anxious." "I always get anxious with him." "Why?" "Afraid of doing something wrong." "Jessica, you're his mother. Her mother doesn't mess up by instinct." "You think so?" "I'm sure of it." Michael was growing and developing well. At 4 months, he was already smiling, babbling, and following objects with his eyes. Walter and Jessica were enchanted by every little progress. "Look, Walter, he tried to grab the rattle. He's getting clever. When do you think he'll start crawling?" "Around 6 months, maybe." "And talking?" "First words usually come between 9 months and a year." "Do you remember that with David?" "I remember everything about David. Every detail. It must have been so hard losing him." "It was, but Michael is helping me heal that pain." "How so?" "Taking care of him. I feel like I'm taking care of David too, like it's a second chance." "Walter, can I ask you something?" "Go ahead. Do you ever mix up Michael and David?" Walter hesitated. "Sometimes, especially when he's sleeping. His little face looks so similar." "Does that bother you?" "No. It comforts me. It's like a part of David has come back." Jessica was moved by Walter's honesty. "You're a very special man." "I'm not special. Just a man who's had a lot of pain and now has a lot of joy." When Michael turned 5 months old, they got a call from Ryan. "Hi, Jessica. How are things?" "Good. And you?" "Good too. I'm liking New York City." "How's work?" "Really good. I'm learning a lot." "Ryan, Michael is growing. He smiles, tries to grab things." "Really? I'd love to see that. Why don't you come? Visit? It's just really busy here, but maybe next month. Michael misses you. Do you think he'd even recognize me?" "I don't know. Babies change so fast." "Jessica, can you send photos on WhatsApp?" "Sure, I'll send some every week." "Thanks. That way I can keep up with how he's growing." After the call, Jessica was thoughtful. "Walter, do you think Ryan will drift away for good?" "It's possible. Happens a lot with parents who move away." "Is that bad for Michael?" "Depends. If Ryan shows up sporadically, it might confuse the child. If he doesn't show up at all, Michael will grow up without that reference." "Which is better?" "I don't know. Every case is different." But their worries about Ryan were soon replaced by a more immediate problem. Jessica began having difficulties in school. "Walter, I think I'm going to fail math." "Why?" "I can't keep up. I stopped studying a long time ago, and now it's hard." "Do you want me to help you?" "Do you understand math?" "I know the keys on basics, and I can hire a tutor." "With what money?" "We'll figure it out." "Walter, you're already doing so much for me." "Jessica, your success is our success. If you graduate, our whole family improves." "Our family? You, me, and Michael, our family." The tutor helped, but Jessica was still struggling to keep up with school. Some days she came home crying from frustration. Walter, maybe I'm just not cut out for studying. Nonsense, you're capable of anything. Then why is it so hard? Because you stopped studying at 17 and went back at 19. It's normal to struggle. What if I can't do it? You will. But if you don't, you'll try again next year. What if I never succeed? Then you'll find a good job without a diploma. Some people manage. Walter, you're not disappointed in my failure. What failure? You're trying to better your life. That's not failure. But if I don't finish high school, Jessica, you've already done much harder things. Like what? You faced pregnancy alone, made the tough decision to give Michael up for adoption, found the courage to change your mind, married a stranger to protect your son, went through a legal battle. You think high school is harder than that? Jessica had never thought of it that way. When you put it like that, it sounds like I'm brave. You are brave and strong and smart. You're just scared. Scared of what? Scared of failing. But the only real failure is not trying. With Walter's encouragement, Jessica studied even harder. She started waking up earlier to study before Michael woke up and studied on weekends too. Michael, now 6 months old, was starting to sit up on his own and show more personality. He was a happy baby, smiling at everyone and rarely crying. He's so calm, Mrs. Robinson observed during a visit. He's always been like that, Jessica said, since he was born. A calm child is a loved child, or a child born with a good temperament. No, children sense their environment. If it's loving, they stay calm. Walter agreed. It's true. David was calm too when Deborah and I were doing well. And Michael has 2 parents who love him very much, Mrs. Robinson said, looking at Walter and Jessica. 2 parents, Jessica asked. Of course, Walter is as much Michael's father as you are his mother. But he's not the biological father. Ryan is the biological father. Walter is the father of his heart. Mrs. Robinson's remark made Jessica think. Truly, Walter had taken on the role of Michael's father far more than Ryan had. Walter, do you feel like Michael's father? Jessica asked that night. I feel like a grandfather. Ryan was his father. But Ryan isn't here anymore. He is. He's just far away. What if he never comes back? Then Michael will grow up without his biological father. But he'll have us. Isn't that a problem for a child? It can be, or it might not be. It depends on how we handle it. How so? If we raise Michael feeling like he's missing a father, he'll grow up feeling that way. If we raise him feeling complete in our family, he'll grow up feeling complete. Do you think our family is complete? Walter looked at Michael sleeping peacefully in his crib and at Jessica, studying at the kitchen table. I do. We have love, care, and commitment. What else does a family need? Financial stability. We'll manage. A planned future. We're planning it. Romantic love. The question caught Walter off guard. Between us? Yes, between us. Jessica, we have something more important than romantic love. What? We have true love. Family love, companionship love, mutual care love. But don't you miss a romantic relationship? Walter thought about the question. Sometimes. And you? Sometimes too. But that doesn't mean our marriage is fake. It doesn't? No, it means it's different. And it's okay to be different. By the end of the first year of night school, Jessica managed to pass all her classes despite the difficulties. They weren't high grades, but she passed. I did it, Jessica shouted when she heard the results. I knew you could do it, said Walter, hugging her. Michael, now 8 months old and already crawling, clapped his hands as if he understood the celebration. Just 1 more year to go, said Jessica. And then I'll look for a better job. What if you want to go to college? We'll see, one thing at a time. But the second year of high school brought new and bigger challenges. The classes were harder, and Michael was more active, demanding more attention. Walter, I can't study properly, Jessica complained. Michael won't stay still for a minute. It's his age, he's discovering the world. But how am I supposed to study like this? Study after he falls asleep. But then I'm too tired. The next day at school I can't focus. Then study early in the morning before he wakes up. I'm already doing that, but it's not enough. Walter realized Jessica was overwhelmed. Jessica, what if I take on more responsibilities with Michael? You already do almost everything. But I can take it all on. You focus just on your studies. Walter, that's not fair. He's my son, and he's my grandson in my heart. Let me take care of him so you can study. Are you sure? I am. Michael's at the sweetest age. I love taking care of him. With Walter fully taking over Michael's care, Jessica could focus better on her studies. But this had an unexpected consequence. She started feeling distant from her son. Walter, I feel like Michael likes you more than me. Nonsense. It's not nonsense. When he gets hurt, he looks for you. When he wants to be held, he goes to you. Because I spend more time with him now. Exactly, and that bothers me. Jessica, you're studying to give him a better future. But what if I lose my bond with him in the process? You won't. A mother doesn't lose her bond with her son. Are you sure? I am. David always preferred his mother, even when I spent more time with him. But Jessica's insecurity grew when Michael started talking. His first words were Grandpa and Daddy, referring to Walter. He calls me Daddy, said Walter, emotional. And me, he calls Jess, said Jessica, sad. It's easier to say Jess than Mommy. That's not it, Walter. He really sees you as his father. And is that bad? I don't know. It's confusing. Why? Because you're not his father. You're my husband. I can be both husband and father at the same time. Adoptive father? Father in my heart. The situation got even more complicated when Ryan called to say he'd visit Michael after 4 months of being gone. How do I explain to Michael who Ryan is? Jessica asked Walter. Tell him he's the biological father. But he already calls you Daddy. Then say he's Daddy Ryan and I'm Daddy Walter. Won't that confuse him? Kids adapt. He'll understand he has 2 daddies. When Ryan arrived, Michael, now 10 months old, was completely wary. He cried when Ryan tried to hold him and only calmed down when he was back in Walter's arms. He doesn't recognize me, said Ryan, sad. It's normal, said Jessica. You were gone for 4 months. I know. Work in New York City is really demanding. How is he? He's grown so much. He has. He's already walking while holding onto furniture, saying a few little words. What little words? Daddy, Grandpa, Jess, Walter? No. Does he call me Daddy? Jessica and Walter exchanged glances. He calls Walter Daddy, said Jessica. Ryan was surprised and hurt. Is Walter his daddy now? Ryan, I've been taking care of him every day for 10 months, Walter explained. It's natural for him to see me as his father. And what about me? What am I? You're the biological father. That will never change. But he doesn't recognize me as his father, because you're not present, said Jessica, sharper than she intended. Jessica, I have to work. Everyone does. But some make different choices. What choices? Some choose their career. Others choose family. That's not fair. I can have a career and be a father. You can, but not from a distance. Ryan's visit was tense. Michael wouldn't go near him, cried when he tried to interact, and clearly preferred to stay with Walter. He hates me, said Ryan, frustrated. He doesn't hate you, said Walter. He doesn't know you. How can my own son not know me? Because you're not present in his life. And how am I supposed to be present when I live in New York City? By visiting more, calling more, sending gifts, being a father even from a distance. It's really hard. Being a father is hard, said Jessica, whether you're here or far away. Ryan stayed only 2 days and went back to New York City more frustrated than when he arrived. He promised to try visiting more often, but everyone knew it was a hard promise to keep. Will Michael grow up without knowing his biological father? Jessica asked after Ryan left. It's possible, Walter replied. Is that a problem? Only if we make it one. What do you mean? If we raise Michael speaking badly of Ryan, criticizing his absence, Michael will grow up resentful. If we raise him understanding that every father has his own way of loving, he'll grow up at peace. And what's Ryan's way of loving? From a distance, working to provide financial security. But he doesn't even send money. He doesn't because we never asked. But we could ask. Do you think we should? I think it would. Be good for Michael to know his biological father contributes to his upbringing. Even if it's just financially. Even then, it's a form of presence. Jessica decided to call Ryan and talk about child support. Ryan, can you help financially with Michael? I can. Why didn't you ever ask? Because we didn't need to, but now it would help. How much do you need? I don't know. What can you give? I can send $300 a month. That's fine. And in return? In return for what? You send photos, videos, keep me updated on everything. We already do that. Then it's settled. Ryan's support helped the family's finances and also gave Michael a sense of his biological father's presence, even if only financial. By the time Jessica finished high school, Michael was already a year and a half old. He was walking, speaking short sentences, and had a well-defined personality, cheerful, affectionate, curious, and stubborn. I did it, Jessica shouted, when she found out she passed her second year. Congratulations, said Walter, hugging her. Daddy, Daddy, Michael yelled, running into Walter's arms. He's celebrating too, Walter laughed. Now I can look for a better job, or go to college. College, Walter, that's so expensive. There are public universities, but they're really hard to get into. You can do it. You've already proven you can. You really think so? I do, and if you go to college, you can get a much better job afterward. What major? Whatever you want. I don't know what I want. Then let's figure it out. Walter and Jessica spent weeks researching majors, universities, and possibilities. Michael, now more independent, played by himself while they planned the future. I'd like to study education, said Jessica. Why? Because I like children, and because I want to better understand how to educate Michael. That makes sense, and where is the course offered? At the state university, but it's very competitive. Let's try. If you don't get in this year, try again next year. What if I never get in? Then you'll go to a private school. We'll figure out how to pay for it. Walter, you have so much faith in me. I do. More than you have in yourself. Jessica signed up for the entrance exam and began studying for the tests. It was another grueling routine. Taking care of Michael in the morning, studying in the afternoon, and more studying at night. Walter took on even more responsibilities with Michael, who was now almost 2 years old and very active. Grandpa, play, Michael would say, pulling Walter to play. Wait for Grandpa to finish washing the dishes, then we'll play. No, now. Michael, Grandpa is busy. Want Mommy? Mommy is studying. Why? To get a better job. What's job? A job is when grown-ups leave the house to earn money. Why need money? To buy food, clothes, toys. Want toy? Which toy? Car. Walter sometimes felt tired taking care of a small child at 68, but at the same time he felt revitalized. Michael brought energy and joy to his life. How do you manage to have so much patience with him? Jessica asked one night. Patience with children is about understanding they don't do things to annoy you. But he's so stubborn. Stubborn or determined? What's the difference? Stubborn is a flaw, determined is a strength. And Michael is determined, just like his mother. Jessica smiled. You always see the good in things. I've learned it's better to focus on the good. The bad is obvious enough. When the day of the entrance exam came, Jessica was very nervous. What if I don't get in? Then you try again next year. What if I never get in? Then you'll find a good job even without college. Walter, do you ever get pessimistic? I do, but not in front of you. Why? Because pessimism is contagious, and you need optimism right now. Jessica took the exams and waited 2 months for the results. It was 2 months of anxiety, speculation, and anticipation. When the results came out, Jessica had passed. She wasn't at the top of the list, but she secured a spot in education. I got in, I got in, I got in, she shouted, dancing around the house. Michael, now 2, danced along without understanding why. Mommy happy, very happy, sweetheart. Why? Because Mommy is going to study to be a teacher. What's teacher? A teacher is someone who teaches children. Teach what? To read, write, do math. Want learn? Walter was beaming. I knew you could do it. Thank you for believing in me. I'm the one who's grateful you didn't. Give up. Now a new chapter begins. Harder? Probably, but also more rewarding. College brought new challenges. Jessica had to be away from home all day, sometimes at night too. Walter practically took over, raising Michael full-time. Daddy, where's Mommy? Michael would ask. Mommy went to study. Why she study so much? To learn new things. And me? When I study? When you're a little older. Want grow now? Growing takes time, Michael. No rush. But Jessica's absence was affecting Michael. He became more tearful, clingier with Walter, and sometimes asked if Mommy was coming back. Walter, I think Michael misses me, Jessica said one night. He does, but he understands it's temporary. Understands, he's 2. Children understand more than we think. What if he gets traumatized? He won't. You're there when you can. You show him love. You explain things. That's enough. Are you sure? I am. Michael knows he's loved. That's what matters. Most. During her first year of college, Jessica had to learn to balance her studies with motherhood in an even more intense way. There were days when she came home and Michael was already asleep. Did he ask for me? She'd ask Walter. He did. But when I told him you'd be back soon, he calmed down. He's getting really attached to you. Is that a problem? I don't know. Sometimes I'm afraid he'll see me as a stranger. Jessica, you're his mother. That will never change. But if I'm not around, you're around when you can be. And when you are, you give him all your attention. It was true. On weekends and in her free moments, Jessica devoted herself entirely to Michael. They played, went for walks, talked. Mommy, do you like me? Michael asked one day. Of course I do. Why would you ask that? Because you leave. I leave to study, but I always come back. What if you don't come back? I'll always come back. Mommy loves you more than anything in the world. More than studying. Way more than studying. Then why do you study? To be a better mommy for you. You're already a good mommy. Thank you, sweetheart, but I can be even better. By the time Michael turned 3, he spoke well and asked lots of questions. He was a smart, curious, and affectionate child. Ryan came to visit him on his birthday after 6 months of not showing up. Michael was still wary but didn't cry like before. Hi, Michael, remember Daddy Ryan? Michael looked at Ryan curiously. You're my daddy? Yes, I'm your daddy who lives far away. Why do you live far away? Because I work far away. Why don't you work here? Because it's complicated. Michael didn't press further, but Jessica noticed he was starting to understand he had 2 dads, the one who lived with him and the one who showed up sometimes. Does this confuse him? Jessica asked Walter after Ryan left. I don't think so. He's accepting it naturally. And when he's older, won't he question it? He will, and then we'll explain it properly. How? By telling the truth. That Daddy Ryan is his biological father, but Daddy Walter is the one who raised him. What if he gets confused? Kids adapt better than adults. He'll understand. In her second year of college, Jessica had adjusted to the routine. Michael had also become more independent and was already attending preschool in the mornings. It's good for him to be around other kids, Walter said. And it's good for you to have some free time. Yeah, I can do other things. What other things? I don't know. It's been so long since I've just taken care of a child that I don't even remember what to do by myself. Do you miss having time for yourself? Sometimes, but I'd rather take care of Michael. Why? Because he makes me feel useful. Important. Walter, you've always been important. Not in the same way. Taking care of Michael gives me purpose. And when he grows up and doesn't need you anymore, then I'll have to find another purpose. Like what? I don't know. Maybe help you raise our next kids. The statement caught Jessica off guard. Our next kids? Don't you want more children? I never really thought about it seriously. Why not? Because our situation is already complicated. More kids would make it even harder. Or it could make it more complete. Walter, do you really want to have biological children with me? I do. If you want to too. But you're 69, so I feel 50. What if you die when the child is still little? Any father could die. It's not about age, but the probability. Jessica, do you want more kids or not? I do, but I'm scared. Scared of what? Scared I won't be able to handle more than one child. Scared of hurting Michael. Scared I won't finish college. Those are valid fears, but they're just fears. What do you mean? Fear isn't reality. It's just a possibility. What if the bad possibilities come true? Then we'll deal with it when it happens. Jessica grew thoughtful. The idea of having more children with Walter was both frightening and thrilling. Walter, can I ask you a personal question? Go ahead. Do you see me as a woman or as a daughter? As a woman. Why? Because sometimes you treat me like a daughter. I treat you like someone I love and want to protect. That can be both a woman and a daughter. And do you feel attraction for me? Walter turned red. I do. Since when? Since you became more of a woman and less of a girl. When did that happen? During college, you grew more mature, more confident. And why didn't you ever say anything? Because I didn't want you to feel pressured. Pressured how? To return feelings you might not have. What if I do? Then we talk about it. I'm talking now. Walter looked into Jessica's eyes. And what do you feel? I feel that affection, admiration, gratitude, respect. That's not attraction. It's not just that. I also feel curiosity. What kind of curiosity? Curiosity about what it would be like to have a full relationship with you. Full? How? In every way. Walter understood what she meant. Jessica, are you sure about what you're saying? I'm not sure of anything, but I want to find out. And if it doesn't work? What if it does? That night, for the first time in 3 years of marriage, Walter and Jessica came together as true husband and wife. It was strange at first, but also natural. How do you feel? Walter asked afterward. Good. Different, but good. Different how? Like our family has become more real. Was it less real before? Not less real, less and complete. And now? Now it feels like we're a real family in every way. We are. Walter, can I tell you something? Go ahead. I love you. What do you mean? I love you, truly. Not just as a friend, as a stepfather, as a companion. I love you as a woman loves a man. Since when? I don't know. It grew little by little. Why didn't you say anything before? Because I was afraid of ruining our friendship. And now you're not afraid anymore. I am, but love is stronger than fear. Walter kissed Jessica. I love you too, so much. As a woman? As a woman. As a person, as Michael's mother, as my family, as everything. From that night on, the relationship between Walter and Jessica changed completely. They remained companions and friends, but now they were also true lovers. Michael noticed the change. Mom and Dad are different. Different how? Jessica asked. More clingy. You don't like it? I do. It's like a TV family. What do you mean? On TV, Mom and Dad kiss and hug. And you want us to be like a TV family? Yes, it's nicer. 2 months after becoming a complete couple, Jessica discovered she was pregnant. Walter, I need to tell you something. What is it? I'm pregnant. Walter stayed silent for a few seconds, processing the news. Are you sure? Yes, I took 3 tests. And how do you feel? Scared, happy, confused. And me? How should I feel? How do you feel? Scared, happy, confused, just like you. Do you want this baby? I do, very much. And you? I do too, but I'm worried. About what? Everything. College, Michael. Our finances? We'll figure it out. How? Little by little, one thing at a time. What if I can't finish college? You will, even pregnant. And after the baby's born, then we'll manage. Walter, are you sure you want to be a father at 69? I am. And are you sure you want to have a child with me? I am. Very much. Jessica's pregnancy was planned by the heart, but not by the head. They hadn't prepared financially, hadn't organized the house, hadn't thought about how to balance a baby with college. But when they told Michael, he was thrilled. "Am I gonna have a little brother?" "Yes," said Jessica. "Boy or girl?" "We don't know yet. I want a boy to play with me. What if it's a girl?" "That's okay too, I'll teach her to play with cars." "Michael, you're going to be a great big brother," said Walter. "Will I take care of the baby?" "You'll help take care of it." "How?" "By giving bottles, changing diapers, putting it to sleep." "Do I know how to do that?" "We'll teach you." When they told Ryan, he was surprised. "You're having a baby? Together?" "We are," said Jessica. "But do you really love each other?" "We do." "Since when?" "Since forever. We just took a while to realize it." "And Michael, how did he take it?" "He's happy. He really wants a sibling." "What about me? Am I going to be my own son's brother?" "Ryan, you're Michael's father. That doesn't change. But Michael's sibling will also be my half-brother." "Yes, so what?" "It's weird." "Family can be weird sometimes," said Walter. "What matters is that it's a family with love." During the pregnancy, Jessica kept attending college. It was hard, especially toward the end when she was very heavy. "Are you sure you want to keep studying?" asked Walter. "Yes, I only have 6 months left to graduate." "What if you feel sick during class? Then I'll leave and come back the next day." "And the delivery? What if it happens during class?" "We'll deal with it when the time comes." Michael was excited for his sibling's arrival. He talked to his mother's belly, sang songs to the baby, picked out toys to give as gifts. "Baby, it's me, your brother Michael," he'd say, pressing his ear to Jessica's belly. "Can you hear me?" "I think he can hear you," Jessica would reply. "What's he saying?" "That he can't wait to meet his big brother." "Yay! He likes me." When the baby was born, a girl they named Emma, Michael was mesmerized. "She's so tiny." "Babies are born small and grow bigger," Walter explained. "Like me. Like you. Can I hold her?" "Yes, but you have to be careful." Michael held Emma with the delicacy of a 3-year-old trying his best. The baby slept peacefully in his arms. "Hi, Emma. I'm your brother," Michael whispered. "I'll always take care of you." Jessica and Walter were moved by the scene. This was the family they'd dreamed of, even if it was unconventional. "Is our family complete now?" Michael asked. "It is," Jessica answered. "Can we have more babies?" "We'll see," Walter said, laughing. "I want more siblings." "Why do you want more siblings?" Jessica asked. "To play with." "And so our family can be big." "Big families are better." "Yeah, big families have more love." The simplicity of Michael's logic made Jessica and Walter laugh. Maybe he was right. Maybe big families really did have more love. With Emma at home, their routine became even more hectic. Jessica was in her last semester of college. Walter was taking care of 2 kids, and everyone was exhausted. "Walter, are you managing okay?" Jessica asked. "I am, but it's tough." "Should I drop out of school?" "No, you're almost done." "But if it's too hard?" "We'll manage. Just a few more months." "Are you sure?" "Yes." "Michael helps me." With Emma. It was true, Michael was a very caring brother. He helped with bottles, alerted them when Emma cried, sang her to sleep. "Michael's being an amazing brother," Jessica observed. "He has such a good heart," Walter said. "Just like yours, and just like yours. Do you think Emma will have a good heart too?" "I do. Kids raised with love are born with good hearts." When Jessica graduated with her degree in education, Emma was 4 months old. The graduation was a celebration for the whole family. "I did it!" Jessica cheered, holding her diploma. "We did it," corrected Walter. "That's right, it was a team effort." "Is Mommy a teacher now?" asked Michael. "Now Mommy is a certified teacher," said Jessica. "Are you going to teach kids?" "I am." "Will you teach me?" "If you want me to." "I do. I want to learn everything." With her diploma in hand, Jessica began searching for a teaching job. It wasn't easy, but she secured a position at a public school. "Is the pay good?" asked Walter. "It's 3 times better than the bakery." then all the effort was worth it. Absolutely. Our financial situation will improve a lot now, and you'll feel professionally fulfilled. I will. I've always wanted to work in education. Why? Because I believe education changes lives. It changed mine. Jessica's first day as a teacher was emotional. She came home beaming. "How was it?" asked Walter. "Wonderful. I love the kids." "Did they like you?" "I think so. They're very sweet." "Michael, your mom is a teacher now," Walter told Michael. "Mommy teaches kids like me." "She does," said Jessica. "Are they nice?" "Very nice." "Can I meet them?" "One day you can visit Mommy's school." Michael was excited at the possibility. Emma, now 6 months old, babbled as if she also wanted to join the conversation. "Emma wants to see your school too," said Walter. "When she grows up, she can go to my school," said Jessica. "What about Michael?" "Michael too, when he's old enough." Life was finally falling into place. Jessica worked as a teacher. Walter took care of the kids, and everyone was happy with their routine. But things changed when Emma turned 1 and Ryan started showing up more often. "I want to spend more time with Michael," Ryan told Jessica. "What kind of time?" "I want him to stay with me some weekends in New York City." "Michael is 4, Ryan. He's too young to travel alone." "Then you can bring him." "What about Emma and Walter?" "Everyone can come." "Ryan, that's too complicated." "Why?" "Because we're a family. We can't keep splitting up the kids. Michael is my son." "I know. But Emma is his sister. Walter is his father figure. We're a family." "And me? What am I?" "You're Michael's biological father. That matters. But you can't try to pull him away from his family." "I don't want to pull him away. I want to be part of his life." "Then visit more often." "I can't. Work won't allow it." "Then accept that your role as his father is long distance." The argument dragged on for months. Ryan wanted more time with Michael, but couldn't understand that the boy had a structured life, a family, a routine. "Michael, do you want to spend a few days with Dad Ryan in New York City?" Ryan asked the boy directly. Michael looked at Walter and Jessica. "Will Dad, Walter, and Mommy come too?" "No, just you and me." "What about Emma?" "Emma stays here." "I don't want to leave Emma." "Why not?" "Because she's my baby. I take care of her." "Your baby?" Ryan asked, surprised. "Yeah, she's my little sister. I protect her." Ryan realized Michael had deep bonds with his family. It wasn't just about not wanting to travel, it was about not wanting to be apart from the people he loved. "Michael, don't you want to see New York City?" "I do, but with my family." "Your whole family?" "Yeah, Mommy, Dad, Walter, Emma, everyone." "And me? Am I not your family?" Michael thought about the question. "You're kind of a sometimes dad." "What do you mean?" "You visit sometimes, but my family lives with me all the time." Michael's answer was a bucket of cold water for Ryan. He saw that in the child's mind, family was who was there every day, not who showed up occasionally. "Ryan, do you understand now why it's hard?" asked Jessica. "I do. He doesn't see me as his father. He sees you as a father, but a different kind." "Different how?" "Like a father who loves but isn't present." "And is that bad?" "It's not bad. It's reality. What can I do to change it?" "Either you move here or accept being a long-distance father." "What if I move here?" "Then you could spend more time with Michael. But you have to understand he already has a family structure." "What kind of structure?" "Walter is his everyday father. You'd be the present biological father. They're different roles." Ryan fell silent. The idea of returning to his hometown to be near his son was tempting, but it meant giving up the career he'd built in New York City. "I need to think about it," Ryan said. "Take all the time you need. But Michael won't stop growing." "What if I take too long to decide?" "Then it might be too late when you do." "Too late for what?" "To be a present father. Kids grow up fast." Ryan returned to New York City full of doubts. He called every week to talk to Michael, but it was clear the boy had a full life without him. "Daddy Ryan, Emma is crawling now," Michael told him. "Really, that's great. And I'm learning to read." "Who's teaching you?" "Mommy and Daddy Walter." And at school? Them too, but Mommy explains better. Michael, do you like your life there? I love it. I have Mommy, Daddy, my little sister, Grandma Robinson. What about me? Do you like me? I do, but you live far away. What if I live nearby? That'd be cool. You could come play all the time. Michael's innocence touched Ryan. The boy held no resentment, made no demands. He simply accepted the situation and moved forward. 3 months later, Ryan made a decision. He moved back home. I got a job here, he told Jessica. It's not as good as the one in New York, but it's enough. Are you sure? I am. I want to be near Michael. Where will you live? I rented a small apartment nearby. How will this work? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Ryan's return brought changes for the whole family. At first, Michael was confused. Why is Daddy Ryan living here now? Because he wants to be close to you, Jessica explained. Is he moving in with us? No, he has his own place. Why? Because families can be complicated sometimes. Complicated how? You have 2 daddies who live in different houses. Is that normal? For you it is. Every family is different. Ryan started picking up Michael twice a week to spend time together. At first it was awkward, but slowly they settled into a routine. How was your time with Daddy Ryan? Jessica would ask when Michael returned. Good. We played ball. Did you like it? Yeah, but I missed Emma. Why? Because she's my little sister. I like being with her all the time. What about Daddy Ryan? Doesn't he like Emma? He said she's cute, but he didn't play with her. Why do you think he didn't? I don't know. Maybe because she's not his kid. Michael's observation was sharp. Ryan really didn't know how to connect with Emma. To him, she was Jessica and Walter's child, not part of his life. Ryan, you should include Emma when you're with Michael, Jessica suggested. Why? Because they're siblings. You can't separate them. But Emma's so little. She's 14 months. She walks, she plays. But she's not my daughter. No, but she's your son's sister. So if you want a good relationship with Michael, you have to accept his family. His family. Michael, Emma, me, and Walter. We're Michael's family. And me? You're part of it too, but a part that was gone and is now trying to fit back in. Ryan didn't like the phrasing, but he knew it was true. He'd chosen to stay away, and now he had to find his place in an already established family. Little by little, Ryan started including Emma in his time with Michael. It was strange at first, but he noticed Michael was happier when his sister was around. Emma want to play ball with Michael and me? Ryan asked one day. Emma, who still spoke very little, smiled and babbled something that sounded like yes. She said she wants to, Michael translated excitedly. How do you know? Because I understand, Emma. We're siblings. Ryan began to grasp the strength of the bond between Michael and Emma. It wasn't just affection, it was a deep connection of protection and companionship. Michael is very protective of Emma, Ryan observed to Jessica. Always has been since the day she was born. Why? I don't know, maybe instinct, maybe because we taught him. You taught him to protect his sister. We taught him that older siblings look after the younger ones. What if Emma were my daughter too? What do you mean? If Emma were my daughter, would Michael be less protective? Ryan, where are you going with this? I want to understand. The family dynamic. The dynamic is simple. Everyone looks out for everyone. But does Michael feel he needs to protect Emma from me? Jessica thought about the question. Maybe because you're a stranger to Emma. A stranger how? You're not part of her daily life. To Emma, you're just the man who sometimes takes Michael away. Ryan had never considered that. From Emma's perspective, he really was a stranger. And how do I change that? By being present for both of them. Even if Emma isn't my daughter. Ryan, if you want a family with Michael, you have to accept his whole family. Including Walter. That was the hardest part for Ryan, accepting that Walter was as much Michael's father as he was, maybe even more. How do you explain to the kids that Michael has 2 dads? We tell them the truth, that Daddy Ryan is the biological father and Daddy Walter is the father who raised him. And they understand. Michael does. Emma's still too young. And when Emma's older, how will it be explained? That her father is Walter and that Michael has two dads. Won't that confuse her? I don't know, we'll figure it out. As Ryan became more present, the family dynamic adjusted. It wasn't simple, but it was working. Michael was happy to have his biological father around, but still saw Walter as his primary dad. Emma was getting used to Ryan, but still preferred Walter and Jessica. Our family feels weird now, Michael remarked one day. Weird how? Jessica asked. Because there are so many people. So many how? There's Mom, Daddy Walter, Daddy Ryan. Emma, me. It's a lot. Is that bad? Not bad, just different. Different from what? From my friends' families. What are your friends' families like? They have Mom, Dad, kids. That's it. And would you want our family to be like that? Michael thought about it. No, I like our family, but sometimes I get confused. Confused how? I don't know which dad to ask things. You can ask either of them. But sometimes they say different things. It was true. Ryan and Walter had different parenting styles and sometimes gave conflicting advice. Michael, when that happens, you talk to me, okay? Jessica said. Okay, but why don't the dads talk to each other? They do, but sometimes they think differently. So who's right? They both are, they just think differently. How can that be? Because there's no one right way to do things. The explanation reassured Michael, but Jessica realized she needed to mediate better between Ryan and Walter. You two need to agree on how to raise Michael, Jessica told Ryan and Walter. I agree, Walter said. Kids need consistency. And what about me? Don't I have the right to raise my son my way? Ryan asked. You do, but you can't contradict the upbringing he already has at home. What if I disagree with something? Then we'll talk, just the adults, away from the kids. That bothers me, admitted Ryan. What bothers you? Feeling like I have to ask permission to raise my own son. It's not about asking permission. It's about coordinating efforts. Easy for you to say. Walter doesn't have to coordinate anything with me. Yes, he does, said Walter. When you disagree on something, I have to explain to Michael why there are two different approaches. And how do you explain it? I tell him that Daddy Ryan thinks one way and Daddy Walter thinks another, and that both are right. Doesn't that confuse him? It did at first, now he's used to it. And Emma? What's it going to be like when she grows up? With Emma, it'll be easier, said Jessica. She only has one father. A father who's 69 years old, Ryan pointed out. So what? Asked Walter, irritated. So when she's 20, you'll be almost 90. If I make it to 90, I'll be very happy. And if you don't? Then Emma will have to deal with it, like any child who loses a parent. But the odds are higher. Ryan, what's your real concern? Asked Jessica. My concern is that you haven't thought about the future. What future? The kid's future. Michael will have to explain why he has two dads. Emma will have to explain why her father is so much older than her friend's parents. And that's a problem? It could be. Ryan, every family has its quirks, said Walter. Ours has two, Michael with two dads and Emma with an older father. But we also have a lot of love, stability, companionship. I know, but the kids might face prejudice. They might, and then we'll teach them how to handle it. Do you think that's fair? I think life isn't fair, but our family is full of love, and that's more important than being conventional. The conversation ended without agreement, but with an understanding. Each had their legitimate concerns, and everyone wanted what was best for the kids. By the time Michael turned 5, the family had found a rhythm that worked. Ryan picked up Michael twice a week, attended important events, and was building a solid relationship with his son. Emma, now 2, was talking a lot and had a well-defined personality. She was sweet, clever, and very attached to her brother. Michael, who's this? Ryan would ask, pointing at Emma. My little sister, Michael would reply proudly. And who takes care of her? I do, I'm the big brother. And who else takes care of her? Mom, Daddy Walter, everyone does. What? About me? You can take care of her too. Even though she's not my daughter? Sure, she's nice. Michael's simplicity in accepting Ryan as part of the family touched everyone. To him, biology didn't matter. Affection and time together did. When Emma started speaking clearly, her first references were unmistakable. "Daddy," she'd say, pointing at Walter. "Mommy," she'd say, pointing at Jessica. "Mike," she'd say, pointing at Michael. "Rye," she'd say, pointing at Ryan. To Emma, Ryan wasn't Daddy. He was Rye, a family friend who sometimes visited and played with them. "She doesn't see me as a father figure," Ryan observed, a little sad. "That's normal," said Jessica. "You're not a father figure to her, and that bothers me." "Why?" "Because I feel like I'm dividing the family." "How so?" "Michael sees me as his dad. Emma sees me as a stranger. That creates a split." "Ryan, you're overthinking it. Emma likes you. She just doesn't see you as her father because you're not her father. What if I tried to be? How?" "By taking care of her too, being affectionate, present. You can try, but don't expect her to change who she sees as her father." "Why not?" "Because Walter has been her father since the day she was born. He's the one who wakes up at night, gives her baths, takes her to the doctor, reads her stories. What if I did those things too?" "Ryan, do you really want this? Or is it just pride talking?" The question made Ryan stop and think. Why did he want Emma to see him as a father? Was it out of genuine love for the child or wounded ego? "I don't know," Ryan admitted. "Then figure it out and then decide." Ryan spent the next few weeks watching the interactions between Emma and Walter. It was amazing how well they understood each other. Walter knew exactly what Emma wanted when she cried, when she was sleepy, when she wanted to play. "How do you understand her so well?" Ryan asked Walter. "Time. I've been taking care of her since she was born." "What if I started helping too?" "That'd be good. Someone else to share the responsibilities. Even if I'm not her father." "Ryan, raising a child isn't just for parents. Anyone who loves them can step in." "And you'd let me be part of that?" "Of course, as long as Emma feels comfortable. And if she doesn't, then you'd have to earn her trust little by little." Ryan decided to try. He started by helping with simple tasks, giving Emma a bath, putting her to sleep, playing at the park. Emma, always a sociable child, welcomed his help. She didn't see him as a father, but as a grown-up friend who played with her. "Rye play?" Emma would ask. "What do you want to play?" Ryan replied. "Dolls. I don't know how to play with dolls." "I teach you." And so, little by little, Ryan learned how to care for Emma, and Emma grew used to him. It wasn't a father-daughter bond, but it was a loving one. "How's it going with Emma?" Jessica asked. "Good, she's a sweetheart. Do you really like her or are you just forcing it?" "I genuinely like her. She's kind, smart, funny. And do you still want her to see you as her father?" "No. I realize that's not what matters. What matters is that she likes me and feels safe with me." "And Michael, how's he taking this?" "Happy. He loves that I play with Emma." "Why?" "Because it makes him feel like we're really a family." It was true. Michael beamed whenever he saw Ryan playing with Emma. To him, it meant they all loved and cared for each other. "Rye loves Emma," Michael cheered. "Yes, I do," Ryan confirmed. "And Emma loves Rye." "Yes," Emma replied, giving Ryan a little kiss. "Yay, our family is happy." Michael's joy was contagious. Despite all the complexities, this unconventional family was working. By the time Emma turned 3 and Michael 7, their family dynamic had settled. Ryan was a present father to Michael and a stand-in uncle to Emma. Walter was Emma's father and a father figure to Michael. Jessica was mother to both, and they all loved each other, each in their own way. "Our family is different from others," Michael observed. "How do you know?" Jessica asked. "Because at school kids have just one dad, I have 2. Does that bother you?" "No, I like it. 2 dads are better than 1. "Why?" "Because if one can't play, the other can." "And Emma, what do you tell your friends about her dad?" "I say her dad is Walter." "And do they understand?" "Yeah, everyone knows Grandpa Walter has taken care of Emma since she was a baby." "Grandpa?" "Yeah, at school everyone thinks he's her grandpa, not her dad." Jessica worried about that. "Does that upset Emma?" "Nah, she doesn't care, she just wants to play." "And does it bother Walter?" I don't know, I'll ask him. When Michael asked Walter if he minded being called Grandpa at school, Walter laughed. Doesn't bother me. At my age, people expect me to be a grandpa. But you're her dad, not her grandpa, Michael said. I'm her dad in heart. That's what matters. And if people ask? If they ask, we explain. If they don't, we let it be. Okay, but I'll tell them you're Emma's dad. Go ahead. I'm happy when you say that. Why? Because it makes me feel young again. As the children grew, new challenges arose. Michael started asking more detailed questions about his origins, and Emma began noticing her family was different from others. "Mommy, why didn't I come from your belly like Michael?" Emma asked one day. Jessica was confused. "What do you mean, Emma? You did come from my belly." "No, I didn't. Michael said he was found in the cemetery." Jessica looked at Michael, who was innocently playing on the floor. "Michael, what did you tell Emma?" "I told her Daddy Walter found me in the cemetery when I was a baby." "And why did you say that?" "Because it's true. You always say to tell the truth." Jessica realized she needed to have a serious talk with the children about their origins. "Kids, come here, let's talk." Michael and Emma came closer, curious. Michael is right. He was found in the cemetery when he was a baby, but Emma was born from Mommy's belly. "Why?" Emma asked. "Because you have different stories." "How come?" "Michael was born from Mommy's belly, but when he was very tiny, Mommy couldn't take care of him. So she left him in the cemetery for someone to find and take good care of." "And who found him?" Emma asked. "Daddy Walter," Michael answered proudly. "And then?" "Then Daddy Walter brought Michael home, and Mommy came to help take care of him." Jessica continued. "And after that?" "After that, Mommy and Daddy Walter got married and had you, Emma." "What about Daddy Ryan?" "Daddy Ryan is Michael's biological father, but he couldn't take care of him when Michael was a baby." "And now?" "Now he can. That's why he visits often." "What about me? Do I have a biological dad?" Emma asked. "Your biological dad is Daddy Walter." "Oh, so I have one dad and Michael has two." "That's right." "Cool," Emma said. "Can I have two dads too?" "No," Jessica laughed. "Everyone has their own story." "But I want two dads like Michael." "Why?" "Because two is more than one." "But quantity isn't what matters, Emma. What matters is love." "Does Daddy Walter love me?" "Very much." "Then it's okay. One dad who loves a lot is better than two dads who love a little." "What about Michael? Do both his dads love him a lot?" "They do," Michael answered. "Daddy Walter and Daddy Ryan love me very much." "Then you're both lucky," Emma concluded. "Why?" "Because you have dads who love you." The simplicity with which the children accepted their different stories reassured Jessica. They didn't see problems in the uniqueness of their family. They only saw love. But when Michael turned 8, an unexpected situation brought new challenges for the family. Walter started feeling chest pains and had trouble breathing. Jessica insisted he see a doctor. "It's nothing serious," Walter said. "Probably just tiredness." "Walter, you're 70 years old. Chest pain is no joke." 71, Walter corrected. "Even worse. We're going to the doctor now." "Jessica, I don't want to worry the kids. We won't worry them. We'll take care of your health." The tests revealed Walter had a heart condition that needed treatment. It wasn't severe but required care and medication. "Is it serious?" Jessica asked the doctor. "Not critical, but it needs monitoring. Mr. Johnson will need medication and regular checkups." "What about his activities? Can he still take care of the kids?" "He can, but no extremes, no heavy lifting, no running after the kids." "Doctor, does this mean I'm going to die?" Walter asked bluntly. "Mr. Johnson, we all die someday, but with proper treatment you could still live many years." "How many years?" "That's impossible to predict. It could be 5, it could be 20. Leaving the office, Walter was thoughtful. "Jessica, maybe Ryan was right." "Sure about what?" "About me being too old to have young kids." "Walter, don't talk nonsense." "It's not nonsense. Emma is 3. If I die in the next few years, she'll grow up without a father." "So?" "What?" "She'll have her mother, her brother, and maybe even Ryan as a father figure." "It's not the same." "Nothing is the same, Walter. Every family faces its own challenges. But I created this challenge unnecessarily. How so? Having a child at 68 was irresponsible. Walter, Emma exists. There's no use regretting it now. What matters is taking care of your health so you can be around as long as possible. What if I can't? Then we'll deal with it when it happens. The medication helped Walter feel better, but it changed the family dynamic. He became more cautious, less active with the kids. Daddy, why don't you run with me anymore? Emma asked. Because Daddy's taking medicine and can't run. Why? Because the doctor said so. Are you sick? I have a little problem with my heart, but it's okay. Will you get better? Yes, but it takes time. How long? I don't. No, maybe a long time. Emma grew thoughtful. Daddy, are you going to die? The question caught Walter off guard. Emma was only 3, but she already asked deep questions. Everyone dies someday, Emma, but Daddy will try to live a long, long time. How long? Very, very long. Until you're all grown up. And then we'll see. Okay, but I don't want you to die. I don't want to die either. That's why I'll take good care of my health. The conversation with Emma made Walter reflect on his responsibilities. He needed to take better care of himself, not just for his sake, but for the kids who depended on him. He started taking his medicine religiously, doing light exercises and watching his diet. Jessica supported him in everything, and the kids adjusted to the new routine. Daddy, did you take your medicine? Emma asked every day. Yes, I did. Are you sure? I'm sure. Then it's okay. You can play with me. Emma's concern for her father's health was touching. Michael also showed care, but in his own way. Daddy, Walter, don't lift heavy things, Michael said whenever he saw Walter trying to carry something. Okay, Michael. I'll get it for you. Thank you. And don't run after Emma. She should come to you. Okay. The kids' protectiveness made Walter feel loved but also guilty. They were too young to worry about their father's health. Jessica, did we do the right thing? Walter asked. What thing? Having Emma, getting married, starting this family. Why are you doubting it now? Because I look at the kids and see them worrying about me. That's not fair. Walter, all kids worry about their parents. It's natural. But it's not natural for a 3-year-old to ask if her dad is going to die. Emma asked because she's smart and noticed something changed. Exactly. And it changed because I'm old and sick. You're not old and sick. You're mature with a minor health issue. Jessica, stop downplaying it. I'm old. I'm 71. With heart problems. So what? That doesn't erase all the good you've brought to our lives. It doesn't erase it, but it complicates things. Every family has complications, Walter. But not every family has a father who could die any moment. Any father could die any moment. You don't have a monopoly on that. The conversation was interrupted by Ryan's arrival to pick up Michael for their Saturday together. How are you, Walter? Ryan asked. Fine. Some health issues, but fine. Serious problems? Not too bad. Just the kind you get at 71. And the kids, how are they handling it? Fine, kids adapt fast. Ryan noticed that Michael had been clinging to Walter more lately. Michael, are you afraid of something? I am? Afraid of what? Of Daddy Walter dying. Why do you think he's going to die? Because he's taking heart medicine. Michael, heart medicine doesn't mean someone's going to die. It means their heart needs help to work better. Like glasses to see better? Yes, just like glasses. Oh, so Daddy Walter will get better? He'll feel better and he'll live a long time still. Are you sure? I am, Ryan lied to reassure Michael. After Michael left with Ryan, Walter talked to Jessica. Ryan was kind to lie to Michael. It wasn't a lie, it was hope. What's the difference? A lie is saying something you know isn't true. Hope is saying something you wish were true. And do you hope I'll live a long time still? I do. Very much. Based on what? On love, on the fact that you have so much to live for. And if love isn't enough, then we'll have been very happy for the time we had. Jessica's answer moved Walter. It was simple and true. It didn't matter how much time they had. What mattered was the quality of the time they spent together. Jessica, can I ask you, Something? Of course. If something happens to me, don't let the kids feel guilty. Why would they feel guilty? Because sometimes children think they did something wrong when their parents get sick or die. Walter, you're not going to die now. Maybe not, but one day I will. And when that happens, explain to them that it wasn't anyone's fault. That it was just life happening. All right, but you'll explain too, because you'll be here to explain. I hope so. 2 years passed. Walter's heart condition was under control. The kids were growing up well, and the family had found a new balance. Michael, now 10, was a responsible and mature boy for his age. He helped with Emma, looked after Walter, and maintained a good relationship with Ryan. Emma, at 5, was a bright, affectionate little girl, very attached to her father. She no longer showed excessive worry about Walter's health, but remained attentive to him. "Daddy, are you happy?" Emma asked one day. "Very happy. Why?" "Because sometimes you get quiet." "I get quiet because I'm thinking." "Thinking about what?" "About how lucky I am to have such a good family." "Lucky? How?" "Lucky to have a beautiful daughter, a wonderful son, a smart wife." "And Ryan?" "Ryan too. Lucky to have Ryan as part of our family." "Our family is big, huh?" "It is. And the bigger, the better." "Why?" "Because there are more people to love and be loved by." Emma was satisfied with the answer and ran off to play. Walter watched her and felt fulfilled. No matter how much time he had left, he'd built a beautiful family. Michael was becoming a man of character. Emma was growing up happy and secure. Jessica had found professional fulfillment, and even Ryan had found his place in the family dynamic. "What are you thinking about?" Jessica asked, walking into the room. "About how beautiful our family has become." "It really has. Everyone found their place." "Do you regret anything?" "I regret taking so long to realize I loved you." "Why?" "Because we could have had more time together as a couple." "Jessica, we had the time we were meant to have, and we still have plenty ahead." "Are you sure?" "I am. I feel like I'll live to be 100. "Based on what?" "On wanting to see Emma grow up, Michael start a family, our grandchildren being born." "Our grandchildren?" "Of course, Michael will have kids, Emma will have kids. We'll be grandparents. You'll be a grandfather, I'll be a stepmother." "No, you'll be a grandmother too. A mother by love becomes a grandmother by love." "And Ryan?" "Ryan will be Michael's biological grandfather and Emma's step-grandfather. Our family is about to get even more complicated. It'll grow bigger and richer." That night, Walter and Jessica talked about the future, about plans, about dreams. It was the first time in a long while they spoke about the future with complete optimism. "Walter, I want to thank you for something." "What for?" "For giving me a family." "You gave me a family too." "How?" "You gave me Michael to raise, Emma to be a father to, you to be a husband to. You gave me a reason to live." "And what did I get?" "Stability, love, companionship, fulfillment, and happiness. So much happiness." "That too." It was true. Despite all the complications, all the challenges, all the quirks, that family had found happiness. An unconventional happiness, but a genuine one. A happiness built with love, patience, understanding, and a lot of effort. And as Michael and Emma slept peacefully in their rooms, Walter and Jessica held each other in bed, grateful they had found one another on that cold cemetery dawn 5 years ago. 3 years later, when Michael turned 13 and Emma 8, the family received news that would change everything again. Ryan got a promotion in New York City and would have to move back. "I don't want to go," Ryan told Jessica. "Now that I've finally built a good relationship with Michael, I don't want to ruin it all over again." "Then don't go. It's a really good opportunity. Regional manager, salary 3 times higher. Ryan, you've been through this before. You chose career over family and regretted it. But this time is different." "How?" "Now I have an established relationship with Michael. I can stay in touch even if I live far away. You can try. But Michael is 13 now. Teenagers don't have the patience for long-distance relationships. So what do you suggest?" "That you stay. Or that you take Michael with you." "Take Michael?" "Yeah, if you want to be close to him so badly, take him to New York City." Ryan was surprised by the suggestion. "You'd let him go?" "I'd let Michael decide." And if he wants to go, then he goes. What about Emma? How would she handle being without her brother? Emma would have to adjust just like everyone else in this family. And Walter? Walter would have to adjust too. Jessica, are you serious? I am. Michael is growing up. At some point he'll have to choose what kind of relationship he wants with each father. The idea of asking Michael if he wanted to live with Ryan made the whole family nervous. It was too big a decision for a 13-year-old boy. Michael, can I talk to you? Ryan said. Sure. It's about an important decision. What decision? I got a really good job in New York City, but it means I'd have to move again. Michael looked sad. You're leaving again? Maybe. But this time I wanted to know if you'd like to come with me. Live in New York City? Yeah, with me, see a big city, go to a private school, and leave Mom, Dad, Walter, and Emma? You'd visit them all the time, and they could visit you too. Michael fell silent, processing the offer. Can I think about it? Of course, take your time. How long do I have? 2 weeks. Okay. The next 2 weeks were tense in the house. Michael was clearly torn. He liked Ryan and was curious about New York City, but he didn't want to leave his family. Mike, are you leaving? Emma asked, worried. I don't know yet. I don't want you to go. Why? Because you're my brother. Brothers aren't supposed to leave. Emma, sometimes people have to leave to grow, but you can grow here. I can, but maybe in New York City I'd grow differently. Differently how? More independent, more mature. You're already mature. Thanks, Emma. The conversation with Emma touched Michael deeply. She depended on him, looked up to him, saw him as her protector. How could he just leave her? On the other hand, the relationship with Ryan was good, and he felt curious about what it would be like to live with his biological father. Mom, what do you think? Michael asked Jessica. I think you should follow your heart. My heart is confused. Why? Because I love you all and I love Dad Ryan too. Michael, you don't have to choose between loving one or the other. You can love everyone. But if I go to New York City, I won't see you much. That's true, but maybe it'll be good for you to experience living differently. Do you want me to go? I want you to be happy. If you're happy here, stay. If you're happy there, go. What if I don't know where I'll be happy? Then you try one place. If it doesn't work out, you come back and try the other. Is that how it works? Sometimes, yes. Life sometimes asks us to try things to figure out what we want. And Dad Walter, what does he think? Why don't you ask him? Michael found Walter in the garden, tending to the plants. Dad Walter, can I talk to you? Of course. It's about going to New York City. Oh, what do you want to know? What you think? Walter stopped working on the plants and looked at Michael. I think you should go. Michael was surprised. Why? Because you need to see for the world and get to know your biological father better. But what about you all? Won't I miss you? You will. And we'll miss you too. But that's normal. Normal how? Normal for people who love each other. Missing someone is proof of love. What if I go and don't like it? Then you come back. What if I go and like it so much I don't want to come back? Then you stay there and we'll visit you. Dad Walter, don't you want me to stay? I do, very much. But I want even more for you to be happy and fulfilled. What if I'm only happy living here? Then you stay here forever. But if you don't try living somewhere else, you'll never know. The conversation with Walter convinced Michael. If even the father who loved him most thought he should try, maybe it really was the right thing to do. Dad Ryan, I've decided. And what's the decision? I'm going to New York City with you. Ryan beamed. Are you sure? I am, but with some conditions. What conditions? First, I visit my family here every 2 months. Okay. Second, during school breaks, I spend at least half the time here. Okay. Third, if I don't like living there, I can come back anytime. You can. Fourth, you can visit me in New York City whenever you want. Of course. And fifth, you can never move cities again without telling me first. I won't, I promise. Then it's settled. Michael's decision to go to New York City was hard for the whole family, but everyone respected his choice. Emma cried a lot on the day of the goodbye. "Mike, I'm going to miss you." "I'll miss you too. Will you call me?" "I'll call every week." "Promise?" "I promise." "And will you come back soon?" "I'll be back in 2 months." "That's so long." "It'll go by fast. Take good care of Dad, Ryan." "I will." "And you take good care of Dad, Walter, and Mom." "I will." The goodbye hug between Michael and Emma was heartbreaking. Walter and Jessica were also emotional. "Take good care of him, Ryan," Walter said. "I'll take care of him like he's the most precious thing in the world." "He is the most precious thing in the world. I know." With Michael in New York City, the household dynamic changed completely. Emma missed her brother terribly. Walter grew quieter, and Jessica had to step in to lift the family's spirits. "How are you all?" Michael asked during the first call. "Missing you," Emma replied. "A lot," Michael asked. "A whole lot." "I miss you too, but I'm liking New York City." "What's it like there?" "Big. Really big. And there's so much to do." "And Dad, Ryan?" "He's being a great dad. Takes me to see places, helps me with the new school." "Do you like the new school?" "I do. It's different but nice." "Made any friends?" "A few. But I still miss my friends here." "They miss you too." "Emma, are you taking good care of Daddy, Walter, and Mommy?" "I am, but they're sad." "Sad? Why?" "Because they miss you. Tell them I'm doing well and that I love you all very much." "I will." "When are you coming back?" "In 6 weeks." "That's so long." "It'll go by fast. You'll see." The weekly calls from Michael helped ease the longing, but they couldn't fill the void he'd left behind. Emma, who had always been very close to her brother, became even more attached to Walter and Jessica. It was as if she wanted to make up for Michael's absence by clinging to her parents more. "Daddy, can I sleep with you and Mommy tonight?" Emma asked almost every night. "Of course. But why?" "Because the room is too quiet without Michael." "Do you want us to move you to Michael's room?" "No, I want to keep everything the same for when he comes back." Emma's loyalty to her brother was touching. She didn't touch anything in Michael's room, saved drawings to show him, and kept news to share when he returned. Walter also missed Michael deeply. The boy had been his conversation partner, his helper with Emma, his connection to the younger world. "Do you think we did the right thing letting Michael go?" Walter asked Jessica. "I do. He needed to experience it." "But what if he doesn't come back?" "Then it'll mean New York City is better for him." "And what about us? Will we lose our son?" "Walter, Michael isn't ours. He's his own person. We just took care of him for a while." "For a while?" "Yes, a child isn't their parents' property. They're someone parents help grow and then set free into the world." "That hurts." "It does. But that's how it has to be." When 6 weeks had passed since Michael left, he called with news. "Can I talk to all of you together?" "Of course," said Jessica, putting the phone on speaker. "Is everyone there?" "We are," Walter replied. "Emma too." "Me too," said Emma. "Good. I have something important to tell you." "What is it?" Jessica asked, nervous. "I've decided I want to come home." "What do you mean?" asked Ryan, who was with him. "I want to go back to our town. I don't like living in New York City." "Why?" Walter asked. "Because this isn't my home. My home is there with all of you." "But Michael, you said you were enjoying it," Jessica said. "I enjoy visiting, but not living here." "It's different." "Different how?" "Here, I'm just Daddy Ryan's son. There, I'm a son, a brother, a grandson at heart. I have more roles, more people who love me." "What about Daddy Ryan?" Emma asked. "Daddy Ryan can come back to our town too. A job isn't more important than family." Ryan, who had been listening, spoke up. "Michael's right. Family is more important than a job." "You're giving up the promotion?" Jessica asked. "I am. I already talked to my boss. I can go back to my old job." "Are you sure?" "I am. These last 2 months living with Michael taught me that presence matters more than money." "Yay!" Emma cheered. "Mike's coming back." "I sure am," Michael said. "And Daddy Ryan is coming too." "Our family will be together again?" "Yes, closer than ever." When Michael returned from New York City, the house was filled with joy once more. Emma wouldn't leave his side. Walter started smiling again, and Jessica felt complete. "How was it living alone with Daddy Ryan?" Jessica asked. "It was good. We got to know each other better. But I missed you all so much." "What did you miss the most?" "The talks with Daddy Walter, playing with Emma, your bedtime stories." "And New York City? Didn't you miss anything there?" "I missed the friends I made. But I didn't miss the city." "Why?" "Because a city that's too big makes you feel small. Here I feel important." "What do you mean?" "Here I'm Michael from the Pine Grove Cemetery family, Emma's brother, Walter's son. Everyone knows me. There I was just another boy." The experience in New York City had matured Michael. He came back more self-assured, clearer about what he wanted, more grateful for the family he had. "Michael, do you regret going?" asked Walter. "No. It was important." "Why?" "Because now I know this is my place in the world. What if you had liked it there? Then I would have stayed, but I didn't like it." "What didn't you like?" "Not having you all close, not knowing anyone, not having history in that place." "History?" "Yeah, here I have history. I have the cemetery where I was found, the school I went to, the friends I grew up with. There I had none of that. And Daddy Ryan, what was it like living with him? It was good. He's a great dad, but different from you." "Different how?" "You're a dad by heart. He's a biological dad. They're different kinds of love. Which do you prefer?" "I don't have to choose. I can have both." Michael's wisdom surprised Walter. At 13, the boy already understood complexities that many adults take a lifetime to grasp. Ryan had also returned to town and resumed his old job. The experience of living with Michael had changed his perspective on career and family. "What was it like taking care of Michael alone?" asked Jessica. "Hard and wonderful at the same time." "Hard why?" "Because I had no experience. I had to learn on the fly." "And wonderful why?" "Because I discovered I'm capable of being a father, a real father, not just a weekend dad." "And now, what's next?" "Now I want to be more involved in his education. Not just visits, but responsibilities too." "What kind of responsibilities?" "Taking him to the doctor, helping with homework, attending school meetings." "Ryan, that means co-parenting with Walter. It means sharing. It's different." "How so?" "Co-parenting is dividing. Sharing is doing it together." Jessica liked the distinction. Ryan was proposing a more present fatherhood without trying to replace Walter. "And how does Walter feel about this?" asked Jessica. "Why don't you ask him?" Walter, when asked, was open to the new dynamic. "I think it's good for Michael to have two present fathers. Won't you be jealous of what?" "Michael loves us both. Love isn't a pie. If you give a piece to one, there's less for the other." "How so?" "Love multiplies. The more people love Michael, the more love he has, and the more love he gives too." "Are you sure?" "Yes. And besides, two heads are better than one. Two fathers can give Michael richer guidance." Walter's generosity allowed Ryan to take on a more active role in raising Michael. It wasn't a conventional situation, but it was working. Michael had two present fathers, each with his own style, qualities, and contributions. Walter was the father. By heart, experienced, patient, wise. Ryan was the biological father, young, dynamic, ambitious. "What's it like having two dads?" asked one of Michael's classmates at school. "It's cool. I get two perspectives on everything." "How so?" "When I'm unsure about something, I ask both. Then I hear different opinions and decide what I think is best. And they don't fight? Sometimes they disagree, but they don't fight. They talk and work it out. And you, doesn't it get confusing?" "At first it did, now I'm used to it." "Do you like them both?" "Yeah, each in their own way." Michael's ease in talking about his unconventional family inspired his classmates. He didn't see a problem in having two fathers. He saw an advantage. Emma, watching Michael's relationship with both fathers, sometimes grew curious. "Daddy, why don't I have two dads like Michael?" "Because everyone has their own story," Walter would reply. "But I want two daddies too." "Why?" "To have more people to play with me." "Emma, you have Michael, who's like a brother and a friend. You have Ryan, who's like an uncle. You have Mommy, who plays with you all the time. You're not missing anyone to play with. That's true, but having two daddies sounds fun. It does, but one daddy who loves you very much is also really great. And do you love me very much? Very, very much. More than Michael. I love you both the same, but in different ways. Different how? I love Michael as my heart's son. I love you as my biological daughter. They're different kinds of love, but equal in size. Emma was satisfied with the explanation. For her, what mattered wasn't having two fathers, it was knowing she was loved. When Michael turned 15 and Emma 10, the family had found a perfect balance. Everyone had their roles clearly defined, their responsibilities, their joys. Walter, now 73, still took good care of his health and remained actively involved in raising the children. His heart condition was under control, and he felt fulfilled as a father and husband. Jessica, at 27, was established in her career as a teacher and happy with the family she had built. She regretted none of the choices she'd made. Ryan, at 29, had finally found balance between his career and family. He lived alone, but was actively involved in Michael's life and maintained a loving relationship with the whole family. Michael was a responsible, mature teenager who kept good grades in school and helped at home. His experience living in New York City had given him confidence and perspective. Emma was a cheerful, bright girl who loved school and had many friends. The presence of so many people who loved her had given her security and self-esteem. "Our family worked out," Jessica remarked one evening. "It did," Walter agreed, "despite all the hardships. So because of all the hardships, the struggles made us stronger and more united and more grateful for what we have." It was true. That family had been formed under the most unlikely circumstances: an abandoned baby, a desperate teenage mother, a lonely elderly man, an immature biological father. But love, patience, understanding, and everyone's effort had turned that improbable gathering of people into a real family. A family that worked not in spite of their differences, but because of them. Each person contributed their unique qualities to create a harmonious whole. And as Michael studied in his room and Emma slept peacefully, Walter and Jessica held hands in bed, grateful for all they'd lived through and excited for all they still had ahead. Because in the end, that story had begun with a cry in Pine Grove Cemetery, but had turned into a symphony of love that would echo for generations. The end. Now tell us what you thought of the story and where you're watching from. If you have anything to share with us, leave your honest words in the comments. Do you think Walter and Jessica made the right choices throughout their journey? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other heartwarming stories.